radio brings. Salem Surround offers a total marketing solution to our partners. All-in-one digital solutions that provide targeted local digital and social media ads, Google AdWords management, website services, video strategy, search optimization, and even a management dashboard to offer you total campaign updates and transparency. Your Salem Surround representative is located right here in Chicago. Experience the Salem Surround digital revolution today. Call 847-472-8951. That's 847-472-8951.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up at 5:38, Governor Jelly Belly starting to pitch his wares for the presidency. In New Hampshire, going full Maxine Waters. That's at 5:38. Now we check the headlines.
Good morning. It's 52 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. President Trump says that he's disappointed with Russia as he urged Vladimir Putin to sign a deal to end the war in Ukraine. He told reporters Sunday he wanted the Russian leader to stop shooting, sit down, and sign a deal to end the fighting, adding he was disappointed missiles were flying. The frustration comes as Russia launched its deadliest attack in almost a year last week, killing at least 9 people and injuring over 70 in missile and drone strikes. Governor Pritzker is casting his support behind Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton in her bid for U.S. Senate. He announced his endorsement for his longtime running mate in his effort to replace outgoing Senator Dick Durbin. And a Chicago man is accused of starting an arson fire that killed a Chicago firefighter on the west side. Charles Green has been charged with arson and murder. Police say the defendant started the Austin garage fire on Wednesday morning, which caused the death of Captain David Meyer. This report is sponsored by Macy's Backstage. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? How about fun Mother's Day gifts for under $15? Get low prices every day on unique finds before they're gone. In store only at Macy's Backstage today. Find a location near you at macy'sbackstage.com. Off price, on trend, arriving daily. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next.
For nearly a decade, AM 560 has marked the start of summer with a night of cigar smoking and great conversation. And this year, we've expanded Cigar Night to 2 nights. Wednesday, May 21st at Goldbert's Farm in Pingree Grove. And Thursday, May 22nd at Gaelic Park in Oak Forest. Featuring the great Larry Elder, along with AM 560's Dan Proft and Sean Thompson. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Level 10 Coatings.
It's Chris Stigall for townhall.com. We're at a critical juncture in American history, with the SS America, if you will, buffeted by a political storm that threatens to escalate into a full-blown hurricane. Our challenges threaten to paralyze markets, turning every investment into a gamble and jeopardizing the American dream. Donald Trump, our captain of SS America, sees the distant horizon, though. He knows enduring prosperity demands politics etched in stone, tax rates locked in, regulations unshackled, spending reined in. Trump's big, beautiful bill is a crucial lifeline, providing a guide to safer shores. It offers certainty by securing tax rates, reckless spending reined in, eliminating regulatory burdens to unleash American innovation, and more. More importantly, formalizing the findings of DOGE, which has uncovered billions lost in bureaucratic inefficiency. Yet the crew falters. Republicans must deliver on this bill soon, or the hurricane will overtake us. Time to get it done. I'm Chris Stigall.
The Sagsbridge Mission Society brings you a fun evening with Dr. Michael Foley, proclaimed author of the popular book anthology Dining with the Saints, The Sinner's Guide to a Righteous Feast. Drinking with Your Patron Saints, The Sinner's Guide to Honoring Namesakes and Protectors. And Drinking with the Saints, The Sinner's Guide to a Holy Happy Hour. Dr. Foley is a Catholic theologian, a professor at Baylor University, an author, a speaker, as well as a self-taught mixologist. He's authored more than a dozen books, articles, and poetry available where books are sold. Dr. Foley's talk is sponsored by the Sagsbridge Mission Society and will take place Sunday, May 4th at 7 p.m. at Sag Hall, located at 10600 Archer Avenue in Lamont, Illinois, near the corner of Route 83 and Archer Avenue. There is no charge for admission, but seating is limited, so register now at sagbridgemissonsociety.org. That's sagbridgemissonsociety.org.
AM 560 listeners, sign up today to receive a free financial education video series, The 5 Retirement Pitfalls and How to Avoid Them, courtesy of Steve Shyman, host of Protecting Your Assets radio show, Saturdays at 8 a.m. Sign up is easy, and the 5-part video series is completely free and will arrive in your email inbox. Sign up today. It's free. Please text your name and email address to 833-945-7283. Again, please text your name and email address to 833-945-7283.
Active Liver is the easy way to get a daily detox to keep you healthy and feeling your best. Find Active Liver at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Times of clouds and sun, a windy day. High today 82. Clouds windy and warm. Strong thunderstorm late tonight. Could bring some hail and damaging wind, low 68. Windy and cooler tomorrow. A thunderstorm in the early morning, then partly sunny. High 73. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy and Jelly Belly headlined a fundraiser dinner, New Hampshire, for the party faithful there to audition for the top spot in 28. That's what he's doing. It does seem more and more like Jelly Belly may decide not to run again and focus entirely on the presidency, although I think that's a mistake. He may also have just tired of the tedium of Illinois. But politically, I think you're always in a stronger position if you're in office as a sitting governor and in the daily news cycle, as opposed to just being a candidate out there running around. Well, in his case, being, airlifted around. But anyway, Pritzker is trying to get with the spirit of the times, against the backdrop of the sit-in on the Capitol steps, the constitutional crisis, haranguing coming from every member of the left who can find a camera. He's got to get into it, too. If you're going to be like a stale old, let's be reasonable type of man or woman of the left, well, that's not going to go anywhere. What he's realized, at least for the purposes of the primary, and this speaks to what the new Marxist Party actually is, which is the new Marxist Party. I know some old-line Democrats bristle at that, but when Comrade Bernie and his sidekick AOC are the center of attention in your party, and maybe with Jasmine Crockett as the opening act, it tells you where your party is. Not to mention the behavior of just about all of its aspirants for the party's nomination. When a cipher like Jelly Belly feels like he has to say what he said in New Hampshire, it tells you a lot about where the party is.
Never before in my life have I called for mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption. But I am now.
Sustained applause from those New Hampshire honkies.
These Republicans cannot know a moment of peace. They have to understand that we will fight their cruelty with every megaphone and microphone that we have. We must castigate them on the soapbox and then punish them at the ballot box.
Wow. He's going to be bringing in the crowds with that rap, isn't he? Not a moment of peace. I mean, he went full Maxine Waters.
Let's make sure we show up wherever we have to show up. And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
I guess it works so well in term one that we might as well try it with term two. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Republicans should not know a moment of peace, says Jelly Belly.
I mean, I'm scared, aren't you, Dan? I'm shaking in my boots with that.
It's more the question of what it says to the party. I mean, who is afraid of J.B. Pritzker? No one.
No one. Well, he always said, too, if you want to pick up an illegal, you got to go through him first, remember? You got to come through me.
Yes. Again, what he realized, whoever is the most outlandish, irresponsible critic of Trump will get the most attention and derive the most political benefit, at least for the purposes of advancing within the party and potentially within the horse race for the nomination. Now, when you get to a general election, that could end up being a bit of an albatross around one's neck, but you got to get to the nomination first, I suppose, and that's what he's thinking, I suspect. As I said, there's a lot of competition. I mean, you got Hakeem Jeffries and Cory Booker with, I assume, with his imaginary friend T-Bone in tow on the Capitol steps, doing a sit-in. Ralph Warnock's there. The whole crew sit-in over the budget reconciliation bill and a proposal, of course, by congressional Republicans to cut $1.5 trillion in federal spending, which is actually less than last fiscal year's budget deficit. But cutting that much spending represents one of the greatest moral threats to our country ever. As I said, the more hysterical, the more over the top, the more irresponsible, the more afactual and ahistorical, the more popular you get in the ranks of that party.
At the 6 o'clock hour, we're officially at the 12 hours that we've been at this. We started walking in your office, got down here a few minutes after 6 o'clock a.m. It is now 6 o'clock p.m.
You sat on your ass for 6 hours. 12 hours, I guess. You sat on your ass for 12 hours. Let's give ourselves an applause.
We got some power here. Now, we said we were anchoring ourselves in the moral traditions. When we came out here over 10 hours ago, Hakeem and I said this is a bigger moment than politics. This is a moral moment in America, and we were going to sit here for a long time. I didn't know we'd be sitting for 10 hours, but it's 10 hours and we're still going, and we got some great people here. But the moral traditions...
Wow, first he spoke for 24 hours, and now he's sat down for 10 or 12.
I mean, I don't know how he does it. He's my hero. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You could also text us on that same line.
He is the Iron Man for irrelevant protesting.
I mean, nobody was there. Nobody cared.
Ron, Southside.
Hey, good morning, Dan. And I was so disappointed he didn't run this last time instead of that nitwit, because y'all want him to run so there can be a real contrast and the country can see that he is the epitome of the rotten, corrupt part of the Democrat. He is the epitome of it, guys, in Illinois. So you know what? Yeah, let the fat boy run. And to me, it doesn't matter who the Republicans have. It's more about the policy. But yeah, run that piece of crap, and guess what? He will lose. Yeah. So yeah, let him run. And it's the capital of abortion, sanctuary state, crime, corruption. You got people going to prison constantly, and so yeah, that's it. Let them run, guys, and so we can have a clear contrast. You all have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Ron. Corey Woodlawn.
Hey, thanks for taking the call. No, I get fearful when I hear individuals like J.B. Pritzker start talking, because we just can't take another summer of riots. But this is the whole entire message from Tocqueville when he said that this would be the retardation of trade. and the benumbing of human industry. Their whole entire focus is on poor people, but they're not helping the poor. I've lived in poor neighborhoods all my life. These guys don't help. They line their pockets. I don't know if you remember the guy that set up and told Bill Brady he was the most racist, homophobic person that, I forget the guy's name, he was a representative in Illinois. When they did the investigation, he was actually stealing from his own Boys and Girls Club. These guys used that money to line their pockets. His name was Ricky Hendon. Ricky Hendon was using that money to line his pockets. They all do the same thing. The poor just need to wake up.
Thanks for the call,
Ricky Hendon,
Corey.
yes.
Yeah, Hollywood. Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, it's the left is very much what you hear from them is very much what you heard from Pope Francis. I mean, not the demagoguery so much, but this focus and that line from the Wall Street Journal editorial last week that I mentioned a couple times, which is so fitting of the entirety of the left. His focus was on the poor, and he supported policies that kept them poor.
Yep.
And that's exactly what all of these politicos on the left that you're hearing from do, precisely what they do.
Text message from the Amish texter. Wow, Democrats sitting on the steps of a public building all day long doing nothing. That's an everyday occurrence.
Yeah, well, right, yes.
Sorry.
Well, exactly, yeah, and
Yeah,
they were getting paid for it, too,
yeah.
which is, exactly.
Wow, you're doing something.
Full city departments that do that as a matter of course, and then no one applauds them. George in Naperville.
Yes, Pritzker is the Mao Zedong on the long march to the presidency.
Thanks for the call, George. Other activities going on here as part of the resistance, and I think they're taking encouragement, even though they were ridiculed, rightly so, in so many quarters with their 60-style protest march with federal employees who were being riffed or taking early buyouts, in the early days. And it was, a bunch of octogenarians, and there was a lot of even criticism from the left that wasn't really advancing the flag. In fact, it was rather embarrassing and difficult to look directly at if you were a member of that crew, if you were a fellow traveler. But I think they're being encouraged now because Trump's poll numbers are starting to sag a bit, largely the anchor being the impact of his tariff policy. Right. But even some polling that was out over the weekend has him, slipping at 45% to the low 40s in approval, which is pretty low for a first 100 days presidency, even a second termer, and starting to see some slippage in overall approval, even on issues where the public is with him. The majority, even supermajority of the public is with him on things like DEI and gender politics, obviously border security, tax relief, and other things that he championed, deregulation, cutting spending, that he championed as a candidate, but they're all suffering under the weight of the impact of his tariff policy. That's a discussion for later on in the show. But I think they're being encouraged by that. So now you're seeing more of their antics and showmanship, to be generous. So the DNC is sponsoring, and may be coming to a town hall near you, although no, it won't be, not in Chicagoland, because there are no Republican legislators, no Republican members of Congress in Chicagoland. But what they're doing, the DNC, is sponsoring these people's town halls, targeting Republican incumbents in swing districts who are not being, who they would performatively argue are not being properly responsive to their constituents. So they just finance a bunch of people with nothing better to do to show up to a town hall. Like it's almost an astroturfing exercise, but nonetheless, you get some press, you share it on social media, it begets more of it. The DNC is underwriting it. This is another tactic they're using. Let me give you an example of how these town halls are going. The People's Town Hall, sponsored by the DNC. This is one that was set up in Colorado 8. The incumbent there is Gabe Evans, who's a Republican, but it's a swing district. This is the sort of entertainment you'll get if you attend a People's Town Hall.
Oh, Gaby boy, constituents are calling. You are not here, and District 8 is calling. I must go while you just run and hide. We show your face when town halls are scheduled. We call you here to do your freaking job. We will be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Gaby boy, you work for us.
She's got a nice voice.
Yeah. She's not
sure.
pitchy, yeah.
She's no Bing Crosby, but yeah. Oh, Gaby boy, that's what you're getting. Sit-ins on the Capitol steps. J.B. Pritzker doing his Maxine Waters interpretation. DNC setting up astroturfed town halls. You know, the hue and cry with every move that Trump makes, or not even Trump makes, just law enforcement makes in furtherance of the rule of law. If it's the opportunity to create a cause celeb, a la what we discussed at the outset of the show with that Wisconsin judge Hannah Dugan, much less so the judge in New Mexico, Kano, because I think those pictures
Oh my God.
Are a little bit hard to massage away the way that Dugan can be recast as a heroine engaged in civil disobedience. But this is where they're at. This is where they were at in the first term, which is full obstructionist protest, constitutional crisis. The I word is resurfacing. And I'm not just talking about Al Green. That's, his first option all the time. I'm talking about John Ossoff, the baby-faced Marxist from Georgia, who's a senator from Georgia that never should have been. Same with Ralph Warnock. And he's looking at a re-election in 26. And he is raised the specter of impeachment. And he casts himself, even though he's not, as, sort of a moderate. He tries to not engage in the socialist Spice Girl rhetoric. But now he is, raising the specter of impeachment over, Trump meeting with people who bought his meme coin or something like this, which is, by the way, not even close to high crimes and misdemeanors. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is that this is where the party is now pressing down the pedal in this direction. So what you've seen over the last weekend, in every quarter, elected officials, including those on the bench, as well as, of course, the apparatchiks, it's a full court press now, and it will stay through November of 2026. So best be prepared for it. They are ceding the turf in some ways that I think are counterproductive to them, but they are ceding the turf in a way that I would say Republicans right now are not. And this happens over and over and over again, which is why they win races they shouldn't win. They win policy fights they shouldn't win. We don't engage in the permanent campaign the way that they do. We have a penchant for not exercising authority we have, while they attempt to exercise authority they do not have. This dynamic is playing itself out again right now, and it's going to take more than just Trump and more than just to focus on Trump. You don't get to vote for him again, so you better find some other people to vote for up and down the ballot. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Robert Anderson, president of McLaughlin Body Company in the Quad Cities, and a customer of Signature Bank. When our 100-year-old family-owned manufacturing company was looking for a new bank, we found an excellent partner with Signature Bank. Signature Bank understands the challenges with manufacturing in today's highly competitive environment. We recently participated in the New Markets Tax Credit Program, and we're fortunate to have the experts at Signature Bank help us navigate the complexities of this program. With Signature Bank's support, we were able to expand not only our facility, but ultimately our business. If you're looking for a trusted banking partner for your business, look to Chicago's own Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's your life, your legacy. Shouldn't it be your choice? For nearly 2 centuries, Catholic Cemetery Chicago has been a haven for families, offering sacred spaces to honor these legacies. Take an active role by pre-planning your final arrangements. Alleviate your loved ones a future financial burden. Lock in today's prices and take advantage of no interest payments and no hidden fees. Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
At AlmostFreeTeeth.com, they're dedicated to making smiles great again. If you have medical PPO insurance, find out how you could save 90% off on average to get a beautiful dental implant-supported smile. Check if you qualify right now at AlmostFreeTeeth.com.
The fight against abortion in Illinois has never been more important than it is right now. Thanks to our elected officials, Illinois has become an abortion tourism destination. The number of abortions in our state continues to grow, despite the fact that crisis pregnancy centers outnumber abortion clinics almost 3 to 1. Now, thanks to a new effort by Caring Network, it's possible to reach abortion-minded women, to provide peace of mind and security to help them choose life. This new Reach Her First initiative seeks to provide women with the assurance and information they need before they choose an abortion. But Caring Network needs your help to reach women who are considering abortion. For a one-time gift of just $150, you can help reach 5 women and help them choose life. That's all it takes to prevent an abortion. To make that gift, just go to 560theanswer.com/caring. That's 560theanswer.com/caring.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:06, we'll take stock of Trump's performance 100 days in. We passed this. I know it's invented, but it's still a mark that prompts some reflection. Trump after 100 days, 6:06.
And who won those sperm races, USC or UCLA? Dan, did you follow it? And a prank for the NFL draft that went awry. Today, we're going to have increasingly windy conditions. Gusts can be very high. You should secure unsecured objects, they say. A high of 82 degrees. Then tomorrow, some thunderstorms, a high of 73. It is now 6 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Congress is back from a 2-week break. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and some Democrats were there early with a sit-in outside the Capitol protesting the budget bill Republicans keep working on. Senator Cory Booker warns it'll include cuts to Medicaid and food assistance programs.
Don't tell me you believe in MAHA, Make America Healthy Again, and then cut the funding that gets people access to the healthy, fresh foods.
Now, Republicans deny they'll cut key programs. GOP Congressman Tom Cole tells Fox they do have to extend the 2017 Trump tax cuts. Letting them expire, he says, would be the biggest tax increase in history.
I don't know any Republican, no matter where you are in the political spectrum, that can let that happen.
As the president returned to Washington last night, he focused on illegal immigration, mentioning
the recent arrests of 2 judges, one in New Mexico, accused of harboring an illegal immigrant and suspected gang member, and the other in Wisconsin, accused of obstructing federal agents who were trying to apprehend another illegal immigrant.
That's very dangerous territory, and we have to be able to do what I ran on. I ran on a campaign of taking criminals out of our country, murderers, drug dealers.
Tomorrow, the president will head to Michigan to mark his first 100 days of this second term.
Fox's Doug Luzader. The president is also continuing to push for a peace deal to stop the war in Ukraine.
I was very disappointed that missiles were flying by Russia.
He also says he had a good meeting with Ukraine's president in Rome after attending Pope Francis's funeral Saturday. North Korea, for the first time, has confirmed it has sent troops to help Russia fight the war. A man in Canada with a history of mental health issues now charged with murder, accused of killing 11 people and injuring more. Saturday in Vancouver,
a black Audi SUV drove through the crowd at the Lapu-Lapu Filipino Heritage Festival as the event was actually wrapping up. The driver, a 30-year-old man, was taken into custody after initially being apprehended by bystanders.
Fox's Stephanie Bennett. Last night, a boat crashed into a ferry in Clearwater, Florida, killing one person, injuring 6 others. America's listening to Fox.
Good morning. It's 53 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine needs to happen soon. Rubio told NBC's Meet the Press that the U.S. may decide this week whether it will continue to mediate the peace process.
This week is going to be a really important week in which we have to make a determination about whether this is an endeavor that we want to continue to be involved in. But we want to see it happen. There are reasons to be optimistic, but there are reasons to be realistic, of course, as well. We're close, but we're not close enough. Well, I think they're closer in general than they've been any time in the last 3 years, but it's still not there.
Governor Pritzker is taking shots at do-nothing Democrats for ceding power to Republicans. During a speech last night in New Hampshire, the governor urged the Democratic Party to fight against the Trump administration.
Never before in my life have I called for mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption, but I am now.
His speech fueled speculation he's considering a run for president in 2028. A 16-year-old boy is wounded after he was shot on Chicago's North Side. Police say the shooting happened early yesterday in the 5700 block of North Pulaski Road. The teen walked into the hospital with a gunshot wound to the stomach and was listed in critical condition. And a college education does not equal high pay in the working world, especially for students in the arts. A new report from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York found that graduates who major in education, social work, or the arts usually earn the lowest median incomes 5 years after finishing school. News is a service of almostfreeteeth.com. What if you could save, on average, 90% for dental implants and get 100% of your smile back with a Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO or FEP? It's possible. Check if you qualify at almostfreeteeth.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Spring is in the air, and that means it's time to check the starting lineup. Play ball! Leading off for AM 560 every morning at 5, it's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson, followed at 9 by Mike Gallagher. Moving up in the lineup, it's Charlie Kirk, now heard at 11. Then at 2, it's 2 full hours of Hugh Hewitt, followed by Sean Thompson at 4, Seculo at 7, and rounding out the lineup, Larry Elder at 8. Top to bottom, the best lineup in Chicago radio is right here on AM 560. The Answer.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
While Dennis Prager is recuperating, we know you miss your daily dose of Dennis. That's why Pragertopia is giving you a special gift. Right now, Pragertopia members can hear the best 2 hours of Dennis's favorite segments from as far back as 2010. On Monday, you can hear the Happiness Hour.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what I'm about.
Tuesday is Celebrity Guest Day.
Donald Trump Jr. is in studio with me.
On Wednesday, it's the Male-Female Hour.
I really do wish there were a way to ascertain the number of marriages that this hour has helped.
Thursday, the Ultimate Issues Hour.
Not having ultimate issues clarity is like having a map, but you don't know where you're going.
And Friday is Open Lines.
Feel free to ask me anything about me, about you, about life.
So if you're missing your daily dose of Dennis, go to Pragertopia.com and hear all your favorite segments, along with lectures, celebrity interviews, his famous Torah teachings, and more. Get your daily dose of Dennis at Pragertopia.com. Pragertopia.com.
From the Team Hawkburg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 14 minutes. Outbound, about 13 minutes. On the Kennedy from Montrose to the Burn Interchange, about 8 minutes. On the outbound side, about 12 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 13 minutes. Outbound, about 13 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 16 minutes. Outbound, about 15 minutes. On the Dan Ryan inbound from 95th to the Burn Interchange, about 12 minutes. Traffic is a service of Fox Valley Coins, currently buying all gold and silver bars and coins, silver dollars, rare, date-proof, and mint sets. Visit foxvalleycoins.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Times of clouds and sun, windy day. High today up to 82. Cloudy, windy, and warm. Strong thunderstorm in the area late tonight, low 68. Clouds turning cooler. A thunderstorm in spots early tomorrow morning, then partly sunny. High at 73. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy taking stock of Trump at 100 days, that is. How's he doing? Any course corrections you would like to see? How has he handled those challenges that he knew he would face from the left and the institutions that they dominate, which is most of the civic and cultural institutions in this country, and frankly, a whole host of the governmental ones as well.
312-642-5600. Call us. Tell us what you think, or you could text us on that very same line.
The Kim Strassel column from Friday in the Wall Street Journal is pretty good. The opening 2 months of this administration were mold-breaking, the policy equivalent of shock and awe. Day after relentless day, his team flooded the zone with new policy directives and reforms, cutting waste, killing regulations, imposing accountability. The initiatives were a mix of considered and chaotic, but they mostly benefited from having the feel of creative destruction, something voters weary of Washington waste and indolence were happy to see. I think that's a really good characterization of the quote-unquote chaos of the first month or so, where, as we talked about last hour, the expected histrionics and street theater of the left really had no currency, wasn't helping at all. In fact, that was turning itself back on them, and they were the objects of criticism and ridicule, not Trump. Creative destruction, the need for creative destruction. Yes, it was a Schumpeterian first month, but, Strassel writes, not so much now. The past month has seen the Trump team on the back foot, and it's mostly self-inflicted. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth can cast aspersions on the hoax press and the deep state, but it was his handpicked loyalists at the center of the storm. Whether he erred in hiring them or in firing them, the erring was his own. And it was his signal text that gave a circling press corps the opening it had been salivating for. It was Trump who decided to turn the threat of tariffs into a real live bomb in the center of his economic policy, rather than his powerful deregulatory actions, his economy-boosting tax cuts, or his promising plan to make America the world's energy powerhouse. The result, daily market swoops and swoons, daily economic warnings, daily speculation as to the fate of Fed Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. It was the president's team that chose to elevate deportations into a standoff with the judiciary, giving Democrats their new due process mantra. Those fair criticisms? Do you see the same sort of distinction between the feeling after month one and the feeling after, maybe month 1.5 and the feeling after the second 90 days? The wave of negative PR is bearing what is, in fact, continued to be a steady stream of positive Trump actions, writes Strassel. Last week, Education Secretary Linda McMahon issued a principled reform to hold student borrowers accountable for their debt. Marco Rubio announcing a sweeping overdue restructuring of Foggy Bottom. Trump made news in the Oval Office dissing the backward GOP idea of a millionaire's tax, saying it would be very disruptive and cause investors and job creators to leave the country, which would be bad. He also issued orders cracking down on the use of disparate impact liability in government, updating federal workforce programs, revitalizing the American fishing industry, and the executive orders with K through 12 education, where Linda McMahon was present too, in terms of the ability of teachers to discipline students. That was another underappreciated and underreported action he took. But she writes, few heard the details amid swirling Hegseth and market headlines. That's giving Democrats and the media exactly what they want, the chance to portray this administration, again, as risky, chaotic, lawless. And the impact on America's viewpoint of the Trump administration right now is being felt, as I mentioned last hour. Polling out this weekend shows some decline. And I'm not suggesting the Trump administration live and die by fleeting poll numbers. You're just talking about cause and effect here. And it's great to pursue the right policies. That's the main thing. But in terms of the additional electoral considerations that should be factored in, to pursue the right policies in a way that is presented in a light mode favorable to the administration, for the purposes of getting and enjoying popular support for those policies, as any substantial change is a process that's going to have some fits and starts when you're talking about some of the substantial changes that the Trump administration is making. Dig under the surface, and there's a common foundation to some of the missteps. Trump's first-term success came largely down to his Reagan-esque agenda. It's those policies, deregulation, tax cuts, peace through strength, that still resonate best with voters. Yet his decision in recent years to draw closer to the party's new breed of uber-populists and neo-isolationists and to seed them through his government is causing real backroom power struggles. A team of rivals sounds great, but absent Abe Lincoln, it usually produces a mess. And the idea of an increase in the top bracket in terms of income taxes is one example she cites. She goes on to conclude, he's got a great guide to what works both in policy and politics, the free market agenda of his own first term. He mostly has cabinet heads who share that free market approach and are dedicated to getting it done. The reset is more of a putting those policies front and center, brushing back those advisors, needling him to go a different way, and using the 100-day mark to double down on Trump 1.0 and never look back. What we need in Trump 2.0 is a little bit more of Trump 1.0. Do you agree? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. I got to say...
Yeah, what do you think?
Scott Bessent was on with Martha Raddatz on This Week over the weekend, talking, of course, tariffs. And he had this to say. he's in a difficult position, but this week he was sort of grasping for a rationale and in a way that I hadn't seen up to this point.
In game theory, it's called strategic uncertainty. So you're not going to tell the person on the other side of the negotiation where you're going to end up. And nobody's better at creating this leverage than President Trump. He's shown the high tariffs, and here's the stick. This is where the tariffs can go, and the carrot is come to us, take off your tariffs, take off your non-tariff trade barriers, stop manipulating your currency, stop subsidizing labor and capital, and then we can talk. But I tell you, Martha, that we've had several of these Asian countries that come in and said, oh, well, we'll stop doing this, this, and this. And I look at these lists, and I think, how did we get here? How did we get here? Because this trading system has been so unfair. And as President Trump says, I don't blame the countries. I blame the previous administrations that let them get away with it.
But Mr.
Mm-hmm. The game theory and strategic uncertainty as a feature of game theory, I mean, that sounds all very intelligent, and I'm sure Scott Besson could explicate game theory in more detail. But the idea that there are game theory applications to what Trump is doing, therefore it's necessarily insightful and will necessarily produce the desired outcome, well, that's not true. I mean, you have to decide, number one, what game are you playing? Is this a zero-sum game? Because Trump seems to think trade is a zero-sum game, and it's not. Number two, strategic uncertainty, because unlike sort of theoretical game theory where you assume perfect information, there's a version of game theory where you don't, where the actors have imperfect information. And this is where Besant is going. But it doesn't mean that that one side, that both sides win, and both sides come out better. Possible. That's one possible outcome. It's not guaranteed. So, I mean, the idea that he's creating strategic uncertainty and that necessarily levers America to extract what it wants, maybe. Not a fait accompli, though. Besant went on because Raddatz sort of pushed him on sort of the horizon for this. You know, you're talking about onshore. You know, Besant said, we're not trying to make dog collars in America again. We're talking about high skill, high functioning manufacturing jobs, with an eye towards what manufacturing will look now, what manufacturing looks like today and will into the future. Okay, well, when do you think you'll see the fruits of these multi-billion-dollar investments that you're announcing?
It's a process. Right now, the U.S. has a barbell economy. We have a very advanced financial system. We have a the exploration and development that is the envy in the world. On the other side, we are a natural resource economy led by energy, which the previous administration tried to stifle. And in between is where working class Americans have lost out. And we want to bring back these manufacturing jobs or create these manufacturing jobs of the future. And we are meeting with companies that want to do this.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Jerry, Milwaukee.
Yeah, good morning, Dan and Amy. I think Trump is firing right on all cylinders. American people have been brainwashed into this instant gratification. It's only been a month. And to turn around all of these policies...
Yeah, it's been 100 days. I agree. It's still in the infancy. But, I mean, the point is 100 days, as I said, it's an artificial marker or milestone. But it's a stop, look, and listen. So 100 days, a lot of action has been taken across a lot of fronts. Anything that you would change, anything that you would course correct, anything you think should be emphasized or something else de-emphasized. That's all.
Yeah.
So anything? No, or it's all flawless.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it in my own neighborhood here in a suburb of Milwaukee. As long as the Amazon truck arrives in one day, everybody's happy. But it takes 2 days to get their stuff. Then everybody gets all annoyed with Amazon.
Okay, thanks for the call, Jay. I mean, I understand the instant gratification problem in our culture. But, well, number one, that's sort of built into the price. Unless you think that Trump is going to change that culture somehow between now and, say, November of next year. Doubtful. So, again, the point is you're trying to get as much accomplished as you can consistent with what you promised. And I understand that Trump is trying to do that. But there are differing approaches. There are modulations that can be made. Maybe now that we've seen his activity and this administration's activity, it's not just him, but this administration's activity across a range of issues, as Kim Strassel did, you take stock of the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you say, how can we make the bad good and the ugly a little bit more attractive? That's the question. I don't really have much disagreement with Strassel's formulation. I think she's largely right. And the polling right now, just to support the argument right now for modest course adjustments, more of Trump 1.0, is essentially what she said. The polling suggests that bears some consideration. Mike and Dixon.
Yeah. Hi, Dan, Amy. You know, I was looking at some of the questions that were being asked in these polls, and I think it was New York Times and maybe or ABC and Wall Street Journal, and the questions were so skewed that you're going to get the answer that you want. And I think really this is just the media making a last stand, because I feel that most people are really on board with what's going on, and I think they get it. So I don't really think there should be any panic. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for the call, Mike. I mean, there's no panic. I'm not panicked. We're just saying the 100 days. It's unofficial, official, stop, look, and listen point that sort of has, developed over many administrations. So 100 days in, with all the activity we've seen across a range of issues, anything where you would suggest some, edits. That's all. Could we be advancing the flag more quickly when it comes to border security and the deportations of people who are here illegally, for example? Anything we could do better? Or
tax
differently.
cuts in place. Immigration, I think he's doing a great job. Keep deporting. Keep arresting those judges who have decided to take the law into their own hands. I approve of that 100%.
The numbers on tariffs and the economy have nothing to do with how the question is phrased in the polling that I looked at. They're sort of standard cut and paste questions, and they indicate concern. And the hysterics of the left, as customary as they are, the fact that they're choosing them at this moment, ratcheting them up, if you will, everybody going full Jasmine Crockett, including J.B. Pritzker. I mean, they're not doing that because they're out of some basis in principle. They're doing it from a basis of, we think this is the way to serve ourselves politically, so we should take some instruction from that. The media is one. Yeah, I know. I mean, again, all these things are built into the price. The problems he's having with federal judges, the D.C. press corps. Well, all this was known going in. That's what I'm saying. The known landscape, the hurdles he knew he would confront. Could he be doing anything differently that would that would elicit more productivity. Simple. I mean, that's a Mark in Plainfield.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. It's way too early to tell. Let me tell you the difference between Trump 1 and Trump 2. Trump 1 was barely staying afloat in the swamp because Congress wouldn't cooperate and all the phony hoaxes. And yes, the hysteria of executives now is left-wing hysterics in the media. Trump 2.0 sees the mistakes he made in Trump 1, and he's correcting them. And I love the course he's on. The only thing I would change is figure out how to make Elon Musk and his team Doge permanent. And Arnold's finding of all that waste and fraud, is that be ratified to be corrected? Because if they don't correct it, what's the point? And if I could make one last comment, either you or Sean have to run for Dick Durbin's seat. Maybe you should have a contest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll
Thanks for the
duke
call,
it out
Mark.
at cigar night.
Well, I mean, just a point of order, Trump's approval rating after his first 100 days and Trump 1.0, when half the country said he wasn't a legitimate president, was higher than it is now. He got more votes in November of 2024 than he did in November of 2016. And yet here we are. The popularity of his policies, particularly those that were central to the campaign, like mass deportations, I mean, almost double the support for those for policies like mass deportations in 2024 as compared to 2016. And yet here we are. Danny in Virginia.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, I'm thinking that the whole Trump administration, a lot of them do a pretty good job, but I also think that Trump himself needs to do a better job to more clearly explain what they're doing and why they're doing it to the American people.
Thanks for the call, Danny. Jim in LaGrange.
Hey, Dan. Hey, Amy. So good, bad, neutral. So good. What a solid jump start to the administration. Jumped in with 2 feet, had a clear vision, started signing, executive orders right away. The bad is this tariff vision. The articulation is opaque. And I follow this, and I still can't get a good handle on where it's going and how it's going to get there. And then the third thing is neutral. I know he has an energy vision, but gas, oil, nuclear, how we're going to look 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, really depends on a really solid energy strategy, and particularly with nuclear. And he just hasn't gone there as deeply as I would like them to go. So thanks. Have a good day.
Thanks, Jim. Jan, Hoffman Estates.
Hi. I think Trump's doing a great job. I think that, the mainstream media doesn't cover anything that's being done. So half these people don't know anything. All they're pounded with is tariffs. Half these people don't even know the 3 branches of government or who the president is or the vice president. We are people that are really, incoherent. And I think he's doing a great job, and it's going to take some time and effort. But he's putting the word out there, what he's doing. This inflation is going to continue probably for the next 8 years because of the government spending that they can't seem to stop. It's like a snowball going down the mountain. So that's going to be a problem for any president in there.
Thanks for the call, Jan. Well, to Jan's point about some of who we're dealing with, and again, I'm not trying, nor am I suggesting that there be any effort made to try to bring Comrade Bernie rally goers into the fold, because that's a fool's errand. That's not a good use of time and resources. But a little bit of what you're dealing with that the left is appealing to, because this is their base. Again, older couple that attended a Stop the Oligarchy Bernie AOC rally.
I don't like what's going on in our country.
Brought you out here today to the Bernie Sanders rally.
I don't like what's going on in our country right now. I'm just kind of disgusted by it.
What's the biggest risk?
Oh, gosh. What would you say, Dan? Well, I'll let you speak to that.
I don't know. I don't really care for the language that's being spoken right now in the country.
Can you give any examples of specific language?
Let me think about that.
So many things, I don't even know where to start. I would say, oh gosh, Dan, help. This is
What's changed over the last couple months post-Biden administration for you guys?
Oh, gosh. Once again, where do we start? Okay, you go for this one.
It's a whole list of things I can't think of right now.
Yeah, that's going to be tough to get to.
Because our life
folks.
didn't change at all. Maybe it got better.
Renee and Barrington.
Yes, hi, Dan and Amy. I think Trump himself needs to deliver clear and simple talking points on every issue. For example, this, they're going to come back to that judge in Wisconsin saying, well, they're a sanctuary city. She had to follow their policy. Well, the fact is that in a sanctuary city, you don't have to cooperate with ICE federal agents, but you cannot obstruct federal agents. And they need to be very clear on that. And Trump himself needs to be able to deliver those messages.
Thanks for the call, Renee. Greg Schomburg.
I agree with all the callers who have said the communication point needs to be improved. And it's a moment of pause, Dan, that if you're kind of questioning everything, but let me put this on the table. When you look at the number of weeks that we have left just in this year that business can occur, which is next month, then you have 3 months off for vacation. And then before Thanksgiving, you have 2 months, realistically speaking, maybe, 10 weeks. There's not much time. And therefore, what Trump has done is he's gone out to everybody and he's got them coming to him. I think that was a pretty wise move, but I think it was executed communication-wise very poorly. And that's the reason why everybody's a little antsy right now. Thanks.
Thanks for the call, Greg. Well, on the other matter, if you're talking about trade deals, you got to start making some deals. You're on the clock. And we'll see what happens in that Canadian election today. Because if Poilievre loses, that's a real blow. And I mean, we'll talk about it later. But you want more Javier Milei, Pierre Poilievre, heads of state in the countries with whom we are allies. This is a great opportunity today for us vis-a-vis Canada and for the Canadians themselves. I hope they consummate it. Coming up at 6:36, we'll turn our attention to the process for selecting a new pope. George Weigel joins us at 6:36.
And later, draft day prank call. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Nikki Whaley.
It's 53 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries of New York and Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey spent Sunday on the steps of the U.S. Capitol explaining the importance of showing up.
In order to win this fight, we've talked about the ingredients. We need the power of the people.
The Democratic lawmakers staged a live-streamed event billed as a sit-in protest and discussion of what Jeffries calls the most dangerous situation we confront in America. In a post on X, Booker said congressional Republicans are preparing to gut Medicaid and essential services to give the ultra-wealthy a tax cut. He went on to say that the discussion would be about how our voices could be heard in this moral moment. It comes as President Trump prepares to mark 100 days back in office this week. A healthcare company is building its new U.S. headquarters in Illinois. Vantive announced it will invest $23 million in the project in Deerfield. Vantive is a global vital organ therapy company. The company was founded by the kidney care segment of Baxter International. News is a service of almostfreeteeth.com. What if you could save on average 90% for dental implants and get 100% of your smile back with a Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO or FEP? It's possible. Check if you qualify at almostfreeteeth.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
For nearly a decade, AM 560 has marked the start of summer with a night of cigar smoking and great conversation. And this year, we've expanded Cigar Night to 2 nights. Wednesday, May 21st at Gobridge Farm in Pingree Grove, and Thursday, May 22nd at Gaelic Park in Oak Forest. featuring the great Larry Elder, along with AM 560's Dan Proft and Sean Thompson. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Goldilocks Doors, Locks, and Security.
If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Bridget, first-time homebuyer, posted this 5-star review about her mortgage experience. Team Hochberg made one of the biggest and nerve-wracking milestones in our life such an enjoyable experience. David and Anna talked us through every step in our home buying journey with a very tight timeline and made us feel comfortable every step of the way. We put in an offer at the beginning of November, and with Team Hochberg's help and expertise, we're able to close on our home by the end of the same month. I couldn't say better things about them and our experience. Team Hochberg all the way. Thank you, Bridget. If you'd like this type of 5-star service on your next mortgage, call Team Hochberg now at 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That number one more time and that website you love, 855-563-2843, and go to 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
It's important to have a heating and cooling company you know you can depend on. That company is the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling. They aren't one of those massive companies with newer techs and subcontractors. Oh no, Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling send only their own highly skilled techs. From service to installation and everything in between, the work quality and customer service is the best. For 40 years, the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling has kept homeowners and business customers comfy and warm in the winter and nice and cool in the warmer months. Don't call the big guys, call the best. Call Carrie at 847-545-1700 or visit arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.net. That's Carrie at 847-545-1700 or online at arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.net. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling, not the biggest, just the best.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 20% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Honey, we're not moving, but we gotta do something about this kitchen.
Funny you mention it. I just stopped by Forever Remodeling's new showroom in Niles. I saw over a dozen kitchen and bathroom layouts they designed. They even offered to stop by the house and give us a free in-home design consultation.
What'd you tell them?
That we're free today?
Visit foreverremodeling.com today. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com. Forever Remodeling, stress-free and high-quality remodeling.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com or at your local CVS.
From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 14 minutes. On the outbound side, 13 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn interchange, about 12 minutes. Outbound, about 11 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 18 minutes. On the outbound side, about 14 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, that's going to be about 24 minutes. On the outbound side, about 15 minutes. On the Dan Ryan inbound from 95th to the Burn interchange, 20 minutes. There's a crash on the exit ramp inbound from the Dan Ryan to the outbound Eisenhower. This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's knows that with job site delivery, you can get what you need without losing valuable time. Valid on eligible in-stock orders in select zip codes for same-day delivery. Subject to driver availability, fees vary based on purchase. See Lowes.com/same-day delivery for details. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now check out your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Times of clouds and sun, a windy day. High today 82. Clouds windy and warm. Strong thunderstorm late tonight. Could bring some hail and damaging wind, low 68. Windy and cooler tomorrow. A thunderstorm in the early morning and partly sunny. High 73. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment brought to you by Unleash Your Wealth with Raj Shah and Rick Borick this Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. Learn more at scwealthadvisors.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. If you understand the Catholic Church to be one of the great forces for good in human history, which I do, its failings notwithstanding, then it becomes important who the next pope is, who the next head of the church is. 1.4 billion Catholics worldwide. And truly, when you think about it, I mean, I understand the D.C. press corps and its foreign compliments focus strictly on the negatives of the church, and they deserve coverage, to be sure. The sex abuse scandal, for example. But what the Catholic Church has done in the areas of K through 12 education and post-secondary education, actually, healthcare, charity the world over, writ large, that deserves some notice as well. It's a critically important institution to Western civilization. It's not and I'm not saying that to the exclusion of other faith traditions. I'm just saying that of the church in and of itself. So the Pope matters. It certainly mattered when it was Pope John Paul II and the moral authority he brought to the fight against godless communism, totalitarianism generally. So can we get a pope like John Paul II again? Well, let's have this discussion with George Weigel, who's the author of Witness to Hope, that biography of John Paul II, and a distinguished senior fellow of the Ethics and Public Policy Center. George, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Nice to be with you. Greetings from Rome.
Oh, and you were an attendant to Pope Francis's funeral service?
Yes, I was actually commenting on that on MSNBC.
And, I mean, give us your first-person perspective.
Well, it was a moving experience. I mean, it was an experience of the universality of the church. You had people literally from all over the world, Catholic leaders from all over the world. And as I said on the broadcast, we talk a lot about global community or the world community. That was the world community, and it was brought together by a religious service. And the fact that there were 160 representatives of various nations there struck me as an interesting sign that, as you said in your opening remarks, the Catholic Church really does mean something in the 21st century to a very, very many people. So that was a good reminder. Other interesting bits about the funeral was much smaller than John Paul II, perhaps 1/5 as many people as were here in 2005. I thought it was very interesting that Ukraine saw fit to send its president, Vladimir Zelensky, while Russia only managed to send a very low-ranking minister of culture who really counts for nothing in the Putin regime. So that was a striking contrast. The meeting between President Trump and President Zelensky before the funeral mass, could have important consequences. So it was an interesting day all around.
Well, what was the Pope's last message to the people on that
Pope's
Easter?
Last message, Yeah, it was that Jesus Christ is risen, and that is the source of our hope. It was a profoundly religious message, and an entirely appropriate one for a man who would die during what we call the octave of Easter. I mean, Easter for Catholics is not a day, it's a week.
Right.
So he actually died, we call it Easter Monday, but it's the continuing celebration of Easter. So what the Christ-centeredness of his pontificate was there at the beginning, and it was there at the end.
And now comes the conclave. And, give us some perspective on the conclave, because, of course, it gets, including with this most recent terrible movie about a conclave.
Horrible.
It gets, it gets a lot of dramatization, melodramatization is probably a better word, and conspiracy theories and all sorts of things. But anyway, your description of what the conclave is and isn't, and how we should expect it to proceed.
Well, one of the questions people ask is, why is this such a secret process? To which my answer is, that is to prevent external forces, secular forces, from interfering with the selection of the next Bishop of Rome and head of the Catholic Church. That's why the conclave system was invented 800 or 900 years ago, and it served the Church well since then. This will be the most diverse group of cardinal electors ever. It'll also be the largest group of cardinal electors ever, 134, we think. There are some men who are ill, and we'll see whether they make it here. The conclave, it was just decided today, a few hours ago, will open on May 7th, which means there will be the Mass for the election of the Roman Pontiff that morning, and then the conclave will be locked up that afternoon. There will be a first ballot, and then we'll see how long it takes for them to reach a two-thirds consensus, which is required for the election of the Pope in the days after that. There will be votes in the morning and in the afternoon each day until that two-thirds consensus is reached.
Who are some of the front runners? Do you have any names?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of media chatter about who the front runners are, and the Italian press has a tendency to elect the Pope before the conclave opens, and it's always the wrong guy.
So who are they picking? Who are they choosing?
They are choosing Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the Secretary of State of the Holy See, and he will certainly be a candidate. There's no question about that. Cardinal Peter Erdo of Budapest is likely to be a strong candidate. There are others who get talked about that I don't think really have much of a chance. Cardinal Tagle from the Philippines, Cardinal Zuppi from Bologna here in Italy. A very interesting candidate, it seems to me, would be Cardinal Eijk of the Netherlands, who is actually growing the Catholic Church in a very secularized part of Europe. Same could be said for Cardinal Arborelius of Stockholm, Sweden, first Catholic cardinal in Sweden since the 16th century Reformation, who's also growing the church in a very, very secular part of the world. So we'll see what happens.
Now, are there voter ID laws enforced? Because, we got Cardinal Supich there, and we don't want any Chicago ballot stuffing going on. On a serious note, so, forgetting the names for a second, because the names are going to be unfamiliar to most people, but the profile of the next pope, to bridge this dividing line in the church between those who adopted Vatican II and those who did not in their hearts and minds. I mean,
I don't think that's the dividing line, Dan. I think the dividing line, as I put it in the Wall Street Journal this past Saturday, is between the parts of the living parts of the world church, which are those that embrace Catholicism in full, and the dying parts of the world church, which are still trying to make the failed project that I have called for 20-some years Catholic Light work. Catholic Light, pardon the Coca-Cola imagery here, Catholic Light always leads to Catholic Zero. That's the experience of the church throughout the world. So that's really the dividing line. And then, of course, there are many ways to think about what it means to embrace Catholicism in full. But no one in this 21st century world of ambiguity and relativism is really interested in the church of maybe, we might call it. People want clarity. People respond to conviction. And conviction lived out, as you indicated in your opening remarks, in an enormous amount of service all over the world. So that's kind of the real dividing line here.
Sorry to interrupt, but is that what we're seeing when you talked about the cardinals in the Netherlands and in Sweden? Is that what we're seeing in terms of a resurgence of Catholicism in those countries?
But that's also true of what we're seeing in the United States. I mean, many dioceses in the United States this year experienced the largest number of converts coming into the church in years. And those people are not joining the church of maybe. They're joining, they want to belong to something that has a secure understanding of what it is and what its boundaries are.
I wonder, too, just because of the controversies picked up by the Western press and accentuated or exacerbated, depending on your perspective, when, for example, Pope Francis would wade into the politics of climate change or labor economics. I wonder if there is a disposition to not have somebody now do that from the more free market side, Pope Robert Sirico, not that, but somebody who speaks, in a way about those topics that comes across as less partisan.
I saw a story, can't remember exactly where, a few days ago that said that Pope Francis had given over 300 interviews in 12 years. I think there's a considerable agreement that that's just too much. The Pope is not an oracle. You know, he's not the Oracle of Delphi in a white cassock. And that there are things about which the Pope may have an opinion personally, but he has no particular expertise in. So I think in the future we will probably see a bit more reticence to comment on this, that, and the other issue in the public sphere, and to perhaps concentrate a bit more on growing the church.
George Weigel is the author of Witness to Hope, the biography of John Paul II, and a distinguished senior fellow of the Ethics and Public Policy Center. George, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Goodbye, Chicago.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Thank you.
For more, you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, Amy Jacobson here. With the crime we're seeing in Illinois, I know how important it is to keep my home and my family safe. That's why I chose Goldilocks for my home security. One of their awesome technicians just came over and gave me a free assessment of my home. They found vulnerabilities that intruders typically look for and created a personalized plan for me. Goldilocks offers state-of-the-art smart home security systems with HD cameras, motion detectors, smart locks, mobile notifications. As you know, crime in Illinois is out of control, and I'll sleep easier knowing that Goldilocks has my back. They even offer commercial security systems for any size business. Tell them Amy Jacobson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months of monitoring for free with any new install. Call Goldilocks today at 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com. That's GoldilocksInc.com.
You've heard us talk about our campaign this spring with Caring Network. They're a local pro-life organization based in Chicagoland, and they're working to prevent abortions in Illinois by reaching abortion-minded women with a message of life and hope, but they need your help to do that. Illinois has become a destination for abortion tourism. As our neighboring states have restricted abortion, more women are coming to Illinois. In fact, the number of abortions in Illinois has doubled in less than 7 years. Caring Network is committed to reaching the abortion-minded woman, the woman who gets pregnant unexpectedly, and is likely to go to a Planned Parenthood or another abortion provider to end her pregnancy. Caring Network needs your help to reach her first. You can help the effort by making a one-time donation of $150. That amount will make it possible for Caring Network to reach 5 women who are considering abortion. Caring Network provides services like telehealth counseling with a nurse. They can also schedule an in-person appointment to show a pregnant woman her baby on an ultrasound. To learn more and to make a donation to Caring Network, just go to 560theanswer.com/caring. That's 560theanswer.com/caring.
Come on with this, people. Move it!
Did you really think you could make that company deliver yourself?
Oh, I cannot handle any more traffic.
You could be getting much more done at your place of business.
I've wasted 45 minutes and now this place is gonna close.
Time is money. Let Quick Delivery Service take on the traffic hassle for you. They'll deliver almost anything, from large pallets of materials to important documents, or both. No forms, no labels, no scanning. Just tell Quick Delivery Service where it's going, they'll pick it up, and get it to your destination quickly. Your cargo delivery is tracked in real time with GPS. Notifications are delivered right to your inbox. Visit QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. Or you can deliver like this.
Seriously, another train?
Or get your delivery there on time with QuickDelivery.com. Or call 847-534-2244. 847-534-2244.
Hey, if you want to send your child or grandchild to a private school, guess what? Go to ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com. It's simple. Just visit ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com and tell us which private school you want to send your child to. Then we contact the school on your behalf and work to secure a voucher for half off the first year of tuition, typically saving thousands of dollars for families. Now, the program only applies to new students who are not currently enrolled in the school. So if you've been considering sending your child or grandchild to a private school and thought that, well, it was financially out of reach, just go to ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com to learn more and start the process today. That's ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com.
8 years. It has been 8 years since QC Kinetics has been the nation's leader in non-surgical relief for joint pain. Hi, Amy Jacobson here, and this is remarkable. Using regenerative cell therapy to restore tissue in your achy joints. These are biologic growth factors with robust healing properties, carefully and strategically placed in your joint. Listen, it's a powerful and potent way to give your joints the new life and repairing old tissue. Best part, there's no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. This is an all-natural option with lasting relief. Imagine doing all the things you enjoyed this summer without joint pain. Here's what I want you to do. Contact my good friends at QC Kinetics and ask for your free consultation. You have nothing to lose. Saturday appointments available. The number to call is 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Salem News Channel is America's fastest growing conservative TV network.
It's an absolute crazy day.
Home to the largest lineup of free speech champions anywhere. Delivering in-depth insight and unapologetic opinion on today's biggest news stories.
Americans aren't going to put up with this anymore.
SNC brings you the news that matters, told with integrity and clarity. Watch Salem News Channel free 24/7 on your television. Stream now on Pluto TV.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
This just in, Russian dictator Vladimir Putin has announced a unilateral 3-day ceasefire and given Ukraine 10 days to agree. What is Putin up to here? We'll start there with Stephen Bucci, Heritage Foundation, at 7:07.
And later, draft day prank call and another big reason why Dan Proft is single. Sunny skies now, but it's going to be gusty winds this afternoon. A high of 82 degrees. Then tomorrow, a thunderstorm, a high of 73 degrees. It is now 7 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Russia is planning a ceasefire in Ukraine. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, but only May 8th through the 10th, as President Trump pushes for an end to the war.
I want him to stop shooting, sit down, and sign a deal. We have the confines of a deal, I believe.
That's the president after the day after he met with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky in Rome, where they attended Pope Francis's funeral.
President Trump is really steamed at the Russians and at Vladimir Putin for continuing to order troops on the front line to attack targets inside Ukraine.
Fox's Peter Ducey at the White House.
Zelensky is now saying that these longstanding issues of what territory Russia would get to keep or what they don't get to keep can soon be agreed to, but there has to be a full and unconditional ceasefire first.
We'll get an update at the White House this hour from border czar Tom Homan after a raid early Sunday at a Colorado Springs underground nightclub. More than 100 illegal immigrants taken into custody.
In addition to the illegal immigrants, the DEA says more than a dozen active duty U.S. service members were also detained, some of whom were said to be working security. The agency also says the club has been linked to gang members from Tren de Aragua and MS-13.
That's Fox's Doug Luzader. We mentioned Pope Francis's funeral. We got confirmation this morning from the Vatican that Cardinals will start the conclave to choose the next pope May 7th.
The 2013 conclave was protected by devices blocking phone calls, text messages and internet access. They also need to install a chimney on the chapel roof. When it pumps out white smoke, the cardinals will have voted in a new leader of the Roman Catholic Church.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Congress returns from a 2-week break, with Democrats facing an uphill battle without the votes to block the budget bill Republicans are working on to fund the president's agenda and extend the 2017 Trump tax cuts. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says,
"We are witnessing in real time an attack on the economy, an attack on health care."
America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 54 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. With the funeral of the Pope over, the Catholic Church begins the work of choosing its next leader.
The man they pick will be the 267th Pope, chosen behind closed doors in a process known as a conclave. That's Latin for with key. It represents the closed doors of the Sistine Chapel that once shielded the electors from Roman leaders and powerful families. Today it keeps them away from the media. Cardinals have to give up their cell phones. Members of the College of Cardinals under the age of 80 are allowed to vote, and the winner must be selected by a 2/3 majority. The conclave is expected to begin sometime between May 6th and 11th. Voting will continue until white smoke is seen from the chapel chimney, signifying there is a new pope. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
The man charged with starting a fire that killed a Chicago fire captain last week will remain in custody. Following a court hearing Saturday, Alderman Raymond Lopez asked why Charles Green wasn't already behind bars considering his criminal record.
The court system is not a system unto itself. It has a very real impact on our communities, and when it fails our communities, we have situations where someone has 5 felonies, 4 misdemeanors, setting garages on fire.
A Cook County judge ordered Green to be detained as he awaits trial. Investigators say Green started a trash bin fire that ignited a garage last Wednesday on the west side. Captain David Meyer died after the garage collapsed on him. Green is charged with first-degree murder and aggravated arson. News is a service of Quick Delivery Service. Make Quick Delivery Service your personal ground crew. Anytime, anywhere, anyplace. When you need to move your shipment or freight, Quick Delivery will get it there. Get a quote in advance and eliminate any surprises at quickdelivery.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
For nearly a decade, AM 560 has marked the start of summer with a night of cigar smoking and great conversation. And this year, we've expanded Cigar Night to 2 nights. Wednesday, May 21st at Goldbridge Farm in Pingree Grove. And Thursday, May 22nd at Gaelic Park in Oak Forest. Featuring the great Larry Elder, along with AM 560's Dan Proft and Sean Thompson. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Air Right Heating and Cooling.
It's Chris Stigall for townhall.com. We're at a critical juncture in American history, with the SS America, if you will, buffeted by a political storm that threatens to escalate into a full-blown hurricane. Our challenges threaten to paralyze markets, turning every investment into a gamble and jeopardizing the American dream. Donald Trump, our captain of SS America, sees the distant horizon, though. He knows enduring prosperity demands politics etched in stone, tax rates locked in, regulations unshackled, spending reined in. Trump's big, beautiful bill is a crucial lifeline, providing a guide to safer shores. It offers certainty by securing tax rates, reckless spending reined in, eliminating regulatory burdens to unleash American innovation, and more. More importantly, formalizing the findings of DOGE, which has uncovered billions lost in bureaucratic inefficiency. Yet the crew falters. Republicans must deliver on this bill soon, or the hurricane will overtake us. Time to get it done. I'm Chris Stigall.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Are you growing your manufacturing team this year and need new employees? Turn to Monarch Technical Services in Rolling Meadows. They've been leading the Chicago staffing industry for manufacturing and engineering since 1987. You'll appreciate their vetting process, payment terms, and dedication towards excellence. They meet every candidate in person to interview and test for specific skills. Monarch assesses experience by using blueprint, shop math, part measurement, and CNC program exams. Monarch Technical offers unique payment terms. You now have 6 months to pay the finder's fee, and if for any reason the candidate leaves your employment, the fee ends. This allows you to make sure direct hire employees are fitting in before fees are paid in full. So if you're growing your manufacturing team this year, contact Monarch Technical Services at 847-342-1221. That's 847-342-1221, or visit them online at monarchtechnical.com. Continuing the privilege of enriching manufacturing for 38 years.
From the Team Hoffberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 18 minutes. Outbound, about 13 minutes. Inbound on the Kennedy from Montrose to the Burn Interchange, 18 minutes. Outbound from the Burn Interchange to Montrose, 15 minutes. On the Eisenhower, inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 31 minutes. Outbound, about 19 minutes. On the Stevenson from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 31 minutes. On the outbound side, it'll be about 20 minutes. On the Dan Ryan inbound from 95th to the Burn Interchange, about 26 minutes. Traffic is a service of almostfreeteeth.com, but if you could save on average 90% for dental implants and get 100% of your smile back with a Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO or FEP, it's possible. Check if you qualify at almostfreeteeth.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now check your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Times of clouds and sun, windy day. High today up to 82. Cloudy, windy, and warm. Strong thunderstorm in the area late tonight, low 68. Clouds turning cooler. A thunderstorm in spots early tomorrow morning, then partly sunny. High at 73. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So as we mentioned with George Weigel in our conversation about the selection of the next pope, in advance of the funeral mass for Pope Francis over the weekend, Trump had a pictured and widely distributed, was that picture, of a one-on-one sit-down with Ukrainian President Zelensky. After which, Secretary of State Marco Rubio appeared on Meet the Press to endure Kristen Welker and had this to say about the state of play in trying to achieve a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia.
What is the timeline? Are you talking weeks or months? How long are you willing to give them to reach a peace agreement?
Well, I always think it's silly to set a specific date or whatever, but I can just tell you that almost 100 days into this presidency, the president has dedicated a tremendous amount of time and energy to this. And we think we brought the sides closer than they've been in a very long time, but we're not there yet, and it needs to start happening. We need to start, I think this is going to be a very critical week. This week is going to be a really important week in which we have to make a determination about whether this is an endeavor that we want to continue to be involved in, or if it's time to sort of focus on some other issues that are equally, if not more important in some cases. But we want to see it happen. There are reasons to be optimistic, but there are reasons to be realistic, of course, as well. We're close, but we're not close enough.
Well, and after that, we get the news that just came over the transom I mentioned before our news, which was Putin announcing a unilateral 3-day ceasefire beginning May 8th and challenging Zelensky to agree to it a day after Marco Rubio said we're close, but we're not close enough, and this week is critical. Very interesting for insight into Putin's play here and other matters. Please be joined for a weekly conversation with Stephen Bucci, who served America for 3 decades as an Army Special Forces officer and top Pentagon official. Now a visiting fellow in the Heritage Foundation's Allison Center for Foreign Policy Studies. Stephen, thanks for joining us.
It's always my pleasure. Thank you for having me back on the show.
So you'll pardon my skepticism, but for some reason I don't see Putin as a preemptive party when it comes to negotiating peace. So why the proposal for the 3-day ceasefire now?
I think Putin is just playing with people's heads now. He seems to have gotten away with agreeing to a ceasefire a while ago and continuing to shoot throughout the whole time. And he's playing with folks. And until the president, our president, puts him in a box in some way or another, he's going to keep doing it. He's not a good faith partner. The only negotiating partner that's worse than Putin are the mullahs in Tehran. That's not a real high bar to exceed. It's not useful.
So this is him trying to sort of keep everybody in the fold. We're ready to walk away, says Trump and Rubio. Trump last week and Rubio yesterday on Meet the Press. No, don't walk away. Look, I'm offering a 3-day ceasefire, and it allows essentially things to remain in stasis.
Yeah, and he's trying to make it look, at least to his own people, if not to the world, that Zelensky's really the problem here. Look, I'm not saying, for those who think Zelensky should just lay down and give Putin what he's got and call it a day, Zelensky still has not shown a willingness to do that. It's hard for me to, hate him over that. But it's not like the Ukrainians are really the problem here. The problem is Vladimir Putin and the Russians, not the other way around. And, anybody who thinks differently, I challenge you to justify to me another sovereign nation invading their neighbor and taking about a third of their country. And how is that ever justified under not just international law, just natural moral law? I'm not a fan of this war. I'd love it to end today. I think it's a horrific thing that has caused way more death and destruction than anybody ever believed it would. But, no offense to the president, this is not Zelensky's fault.
Well, and Sergei Lavrov was on Face the Nation yesterday for a rare interview. Gee, I wonder why he chose Margaret Brennan for a rare interview. And his point was basically a recitation of the propaganda we heard from the Russians at the outset of the war. And the conditions for a ceasefire were twofold. One is weapons have to stop being sent by the West to the Ukrainians. And two, they need to make sure that there is an honoring of commitments in a way that wasn't previously. Here's a little bit of Lavrov.
President Putin immediately supported President Trump's proposal a few weeks ago to establish a 30-day ceasefire, provided we do not repeat mistakes of the last 10 years, when deals were signed, and then Ukraine would violate those deals with the support and with encouragement from Biden administration and from European countries. This was the fate of the deal of February 2014. Then this was the fate of the Minsk agreements, and this was the fate of the deal reached on the basis of Ukrainian proposals in Istanbul in April 2022. So President Putin said, ceasefire, yes, but we want the guarantees that the ceasefire would not be used again to beef up Ukrainian military, and that the supply of arms should stop.
Stephen?
Well, look, it's not like the Russians faithfully followed those ceasefires either. In fact, Russia, in most of those, Russia needed the breather more than the Ukrainians did. Now it's different. Ukraine's running out of schlitz here trying to get this thing done. But in those earlier ones, it was the Russians who needed the breather, not the Ukrainians. They were the ones getting their backsides handed to them. And now the scale of the Russians' military is finally wearing down the much smaller Ukrainian military. And yeah, look, if I was Vladimir Putin, I'd be a little suspicious too. But, Russia's the one that seems to be continuing to violate these ceasefires. I don't know where Lavrov's getting his information. He's probably making it up at his desk because they tend to do that. But that was kind of ludicrous, but very, very classically Lavrov.
I wanted to just a final word on this. I mean, if this is seen for the transparent stalling tactic and sort of market positioning that it is by Putin, or that it seems to be, then there's some talk about secondary market sanctions on Russia that Trump might impose. But if you're providing advice and counsel to the national security team of the Trump administration, what is the response you would suggest to this overture by Putin and your sort of larger play to try to move this along to some sort of at least intermediate conclusion?
There's got to be some teeth in this thing. We can't just be a neutral, somebody just decides where the table's going to sit to have the chat. Trump has some influence over the Russians economically. And Biden never used that effectively. Trump could. I don't know if he wants to. He still, has folks in his administration who really think that the toad in the road here is Zelensky, not Putin. I'm not sure exactly what the president really thinks, but kind of hoping that I'll put money that if Zelensky agrees to this 3-day ceasefire, that the Russians will violate it. And then when they're called on it, they'll just go, oh, no, we don't agree, or some other dismissive thing. But Trump is the only one right now in the world who can call Putin on that and to put some pressure on him, whether it's secondary market sanctions. Look, we've said we've got, very strict sanctions on them. We never have really strict sanctions on anybody. We haven't had them on North Korea. We haven't really had them on. I guess the closest we've ever come was on the Iranians during the first Trump administration. Those were pretty tight, and people were following them. But now, nope. It's all of these sanctions regimes are very porous, not hard to get around. That's why so many countries are going around them.
Well, what do you think it said to the world? Because we just had George Weigel on. He's in Rome. He covered the Pope's funeral for MSNBC. But, Zelensky was there and Putin was not. And he said, like, the lowest bottom of the barrel from the administration showed up. What does that say?
Look, I'm not sure, who went to the funeral is really tied directly back to the negotiations on the war. I think that sit down with Zelensky was sort of a target of opportunity. I don't know what came out of it. We haven't really gotten any good reports about that. But I think it's probably not wise to read into every single movement around the globe tied to every single situation in the world. The Pope died, so people came to the funeral. It wasn't that wasn't keyed on, trying to send messaging for Ukraine.
Yeah, well, it probably has something to do with Putin's view of the Catholic Church, too, by the way. But anyway, Mike Waltz, National Security Advisor, on with Bartiromo yesterday, and he was pressed by Maria Bartiromo about Hegseth and what's going on at the Department of Defense as the senior leadership team for Hegseth has been exited stage left. Listen to this exchange, get your reaction to Hegseth and DOD.
Pete Hegseth, of course, our defense secretary, has been threatening polygraph tests. He's been firing people who we thought were his allies. What is the state of affairs at the Defense Department right now?
Maria, I introduced Secretary Hegseth at his hearing. I've known him for years. You know what? Let me tell you about the soldiers, sailors, Marines that every day come up to me, come up to him. We just had wounded warriors in the office with the president that say, thank God for Secretary Hegseth. Thank God for President Trump as commander-in-chief. Just 100 days ago, we were more worried about DEI and climate change nonsense. Now we're focused on lethality and winning. That's been, in just over 3 months, the change. And what we owe is the best equipment that is on time, on budget, and lethal to those soldiers and sailors. I'll tell you, a Pentagon that was chaotic was one that had a defense secretary that disappeared for 2 weeks just last year, and nobody knew about it. Pete is leading from the front. He is leading the charge, and he has no tolerance for leaking.
How's he going to replace all those people so fast?
This is a media narrative that we are going to power through. What's that?
Yeah, this is just a media narrative that they're going to power through. Is this just a media narrative with respect to Hegseth and Department of Defense, in your view?
Yes and no. Look, I agree with what Waltz was saying there as far as the attitude of the troops and the junior level of the military is thrilled with Secretary Hegseth. And I think the moves he's making to clean up DOD, because DOD had jumped into the whole DEI thing with both feet to the extreme detriment of our military readiness. He's trying to fix that. However, while that may be true, if you don't have your mechanisms in place to actually do that and make those things happen effectively, which is a bureaucratic exercise, which, as much as everybody says we hate bureaucracy, it doesn't make it go away. You have to work it and use it. And right now, that aspect of the Department of Defense does not seem to be operating that effectively. So, look, none of those people he fired were senatorially confirmed. Those are all people he can hire in a minute. He just has to find the right people that can do those jobs for him, do those jobs with him, and that can be fixed. but it needs to be fixed. You know, it's not an impossible task. It doesn't mean DOD is not doing its job, but you can't not fix that aspect of it. So a little bit of fault on both sides. Hegseth needs to fix the problem, but the press is really beating this drum way louder, you know, and as more of a catastrophic situation than it has. Waltz was right. If you compare it to the previous Department of Defense, which everybody says, they were grown-ups. No, they weren't. They were completely incompetent people who somehow a former four-star general didn't realize he was supposed to let people know when he went to the hospital.
Right.
I mean, come on. That's insanity.
Yeah, here's the I mean, it's I agree with where you're taking this, which is yes, of course it's overblown because the media is going to take everything it can to blow it out of proportion to the detriment of the Trump administration. That's what they do. They're the comm shop for the other party. I got it. But Hegseth, these are like guys that worked with him for a decade, going back to like Concerned Veterans of America. I mean, we've heard from some of these guys like Caldwell and the press guy. They don't strike me as enemies inside the perimeter. So you hired them and you fired them. So you made a mistake on one side or the other of that relationship. And then I don't know that I really believe, and there's certainly been no evidence presented. I know there's this ongoing investigation, the typical D.C. ongoing investigation, that these guys were guilty of leaking any information, and Caldwell has flatly denied it, talking to any reporters. He did an interview with Tucker Carlson. You know, it would have been a lot better and probably a lot more contained if he had said, whatever, philosophical differences. These are at-will employees, and I needed to make a change at my senior staff level. That's on me. These are my guys. There's no ill will, but I need a different sort of different sorts of skill sets or different sorts of people around me to accomplish what we're setting out, and I just needed to make a change. And so to the extent that I made a misjudgment with the guys I hired in the first place, well, yeah, at least I'm making the course correction, and it would have been over. But when you do this, it's a hoax. These guys were leakers. I owe no duty to protect them. I have to protect the country. I don't know. I'm just not sold.
Yeah, I'm with you. He could have handled this better, and if he doesn't handle it better, it will hamstring his tenure as the SecDef and cause a big problem. If he had differences with those guys when they were doing the jobs they were in now, which frankly has nothing to do with past relationships, nothing to do with their abilities. Look, the Department of Defense is a gigantic bureaucracy and organization, and no one, save someone who has done that job before, has the experience to really get it right instinctively. But some people can pull it off, others don't, and they need to move on. I'm with you. If his judgment was these people needed to move on, it's okay to fire people when you're the SecDef. You know, it happens all the time. And it doesn't mean they're morally flawed or anything else. If they're just not doing the job effectively, they need to go do something else, and you find somebody who will do it. But, you know, again, this may show Hegseth's inexperience, that he feels he's got to do it with all the political spin on it instead of doing it as the head of, you know, one of the biggest departments in the government. That takes some maturity, and it's got nothing to do with age. It just has to do with mature, experienced, bureaucratic warfare. And I'm not sure, you know, Pete's not showing that he's doing that well yet. Hopefully he will get to that point. But you're right. You can't blame everything on the press. It's not all their fault. They just like to jump on a bad situation and make it worse.
Stephen Bucci served America for 3 decades as Army Special Forces officer and top Pentagon official, now a visiting fellow in the Heritage Foundation's Allison Center for Foreign Policy Studies. Stephen, thanks as always.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Whew, that shot was money, Lisa. Hey, speaking of, did you ever figure out what to do with your parents' old coin collection?
Not yet. I need a reputable dealer to appraise them. I have no clue what they're worth.
I just finished working on my dad's estate collections. I took it all to Fox Valley Coins. Their customer service was the best. Plus, they're super honest and reputable, but most importantly, experienced. They'll give you the best prices.
Really? They handle estate collections?
Absolutely. Buying, selling, appraising, they do it all. It was quick and simple, and we maintained our privacy. Fox Valley Coins made the whole process easy.
That's exactly what I need. Are they local?
Right in Naperville. They have an easy website to remember. FoxValleyCoins.com.
Perfect. Now let's see if you can return this shot.
Whether buying or selling or just want valuation, Fox Valley Coins is your trusted gold and silver dealer. Visit Fox Valley Coins, 1 light north of I-88 on Route 59 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. FoxValleyCoins.com. Family-owned integrity since 1981.
All right, pay attention. Crime in Illinois, out of control. It isn't just Chicago. Armed break-ins and home invasions are moving all through the suburbs. Criminals are looking for easy targets. They're getting more coordinated and bolder with entering homes with families even inside. They watch you first, folks, then they see your routine, and when they decide to make their move, there's no warning. So I know criminals are looking for unsecured homes, I should say, and that's why I chose Goldilocks for my home security. Goldilocks state-of-the-art smart home security systems doesn't just record crime, it prevents it. With Goldilocks real-time monitoring, the police are notified immediately. Every second counts. If someone breaks into your home tonight, would you have time to react? Well, Goldilocks has given my family much-needed peace of mind. They also offer commercial security systems for any size business. Goldilocks has hundreds of 5-star Google reviews and has served Chicagoland since 1981. Check it out for yourselves. Tell them Amy Jacobson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months of monitoring for free with any new install. Call them today, 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Again, 708-889-5600. Or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
737, another installment of Why Dan Proft's a Single. Bill Belichick's interview with CBS Sunday Morning.
Ow.
That included his girlfriend, Hudson. Well,
girlfriend?
It included his girlfriend, Hudson, because she interjected during the interview, and what that says about their relationship and relationships in general. 737.
Yeah, we'll take your phone calls, 312-642-5600. But now we have to head into the newsroom. Here's Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 54 degrees in Chicago. In the AM 560 The Answer newsroom, I'm Nikki Whaley. President Trump says that he's disappointed with Russia as he urged Vladimir Putin to sign a deal to end the war in Ukraine. He told reporters Sunday he wanted the Russian leader to stop shooting, sit down, and sign a deal to end the fighting, adding he was disappointed missiles were flying. The frustration comes as Russia launched its deadliest attack in almost a year last week, killing at least 9 people and injuring over 70 in missile and drone strikes. Governor Pritzker is casting his support behind Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton in her bid for U.S. Senate. He announced his endorsement for his longtime running mate in his effort to replace outgoing Senator Dick Durbin. And a Chicago man is accused of starting an arson fire that killed a Chicago firefighter on the west side. Charles Green has been charged with arson and murder. Police say the defendant started the Austin garage fire on Wednesday morning, which caused the death of Captain David Meyer. News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. What if you could save on average 90% for dental implants and get 100% of your smile back with a Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO or FEP? It's possible. Check if you qualify at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
For nearly a decade, AM 560 has marked the start of summer with a night of cigar smoking and great conversation. And this year, we've expanded Cigar Night to 2 nights. Wednesday, May 21st at Goldberg's Farm in Pingree Grove. And Thursday, May 22nd at Gaelic Park in Oak Forest. Featuring the great Larry Elder, along with AM 560's Dan Proft and Sean Thompson. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Quick Delivery Service.
It's Chris DeGaulle for townhall.com. We're at a critical juncture in American history, with the SS America, if you will, buffeted by a political storm that threatens to escalate into a full-blown hurricane. Our challenges threaten to paralyze markets, turning every investment into a gamble and jeopardizing the American dream. Donald Trump, our captain of SS America, sees the distant horizon, though. He knows enduring prosperity demands politics etched in stone, tax rates locked in, regulations unshackled, spending reined in. Trump's big, beautiful bill is a crucial lifeline, providing a guide to safer shores. It offers certainty by securing tax rates, reckless spending reined in, eliminating regulatory burdens to unleash American innovation, and more. More importantly, formalizing the findings of DOGE, which has uncovered billions lost in bureaucratic inefficiency. Yet the crew falters. Republicans must deliver on this bill soon, or the hurricane will overtake us. Time to get it done. I'm Chris DeGaulle.
Are you looking for a peaceful and enduring resting place for yourself or a loved one? Discover Fairview Memorial Park in North Lake, Illinois, a tranquil haven where your family's legacy can be honored for generations. We're excited to announce the upcoming completion of our beautiful new garden mausoleum opening this spring, offering both above-ground burial and cremation options. This serene space is surrounded by meticulously maintained landscaping and beautiful trees. With limited space available in our mausoleum, now's the time to plan ahead. Reserve your family's place today with prices starting around $7,000. And for a limited time, take advantage of a $500 discount when you pre-purchase a crypt. To learn more or secure your spot, visit fairview-memorialpark.com. That's fairview-memorialpark.com. Or stop by Fairview Memorial Park at 900 North Wolf Road in North Lake. Fairview Memorial Park. Peacefully beautiful.
Hey, Amy Jacobson here, and OMG, I was absolutely speechless when I saw my new garage floor. Level 10 Coatings did such an amazing job, and now my garage floor shines. Level 10 Coatings specializes in expert garage floor coatings for both residential and commercial spaces. Their floors are durable, easy to maintain, and best of all, done in just one day. Hey, if you've been thinking about upgrading your garage floor with that shiny new showroom look, please call my good friends at Level 10 Coatings at 855-510-2628 or book your free consultation online at level10coatings.com. And here's a bonus. Mention me, Amy Jacobson, and you'll get $500 off your project. Call 855-510-2628 or visit level10coatings.com today, or call 855-510-2628.
Active Liver is the easy way to get a daily detox to keep you healthy and feeling your best. Find Active Liver at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
From the Team Hawkburg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, about 18 minutes. Outbound, about 14 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn interchange, 26 minutes. Outbound, about 35 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from around Wolf to the old post office, 39 minutes. Outbound, 25 minutes. On the Stevenson, inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, about 36 minutes. That's due to a stalled vehicle blocking the center lane between Harlem and Cicero. And outbound, it's about 19 minutes. This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at once. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now I check your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Times of clouds and sun, a windy day. High today 82. Clouds windy and warm. Strong thunderstorm late tonight. Could bring some hail and damaging wind, low 68. Windy and cooler tomorrow. A thunderstorm in the early morning, then partly sunny. High 73. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Time now for another reason why Dan Proft is single.
Oh, yeah. Bring it in.
The new it couple. Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson. What did I say? Hudson? Jordan. I was calling her by her last name. First name is Jordan.
Please,
Bill and Jordan.
Please respect the 24-year-old woman, please.
Well, I mean, I would say Belichick, too, like his last name, because it's sort of a football thing. Belichick and Hudson.
Yeah, it sounds like a law firm. Never lost a case, never tried one.
Belichick and Hudson.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Belichick, he's the coach of North Carolina, don't you know? And I've seen before that she's showing up to practices there.
Oh, yeah. You did mention that last week or 2 weeks ago when I looked them up. I'm like, oh, I wonder what they talk about. Him being 73, her being 24.
Probably scheming, running plays and dime packages. So the coach, that would be Belichick, sat down for an interview with CBS Sunday Morning. I don't know why.
Oh, no, because he has a new book out.
Yeah,
that's why he sat down.
I guess he's compelled to do that because of the publisher. Doing interviews is not really Bill Belichick's forte, although his post-game interviews when he coached the Patriots
were awesome.
Were always great because he is so insulting to the to sports reporters, properly so, when they ask such banal questions, and so he would give the kind of silly answers that silly questions deserved. And he's, always emotionless. But we found out something interesting, at least I did.
What did you learn from the interview, Dan?
That he's on social media with his girlfriend, Jordan.
Oh, yeah. In some very provocative poses.
Well, anyway, this is how it all went with, it was interesting, the camera shot, too, because it was Belichick with the CBS Sunday Morning flack. But it gave the whole room shot. So you see a woman sitting on the couch about 20 feet from the table that Belichick and the reporter are at. And there's a reason why, because from time to time, Jordan would interject herself into the interview.
Make sure that that's the...
Jordan was a constant presence during our interview.
You have Jordan right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. Yeah. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
I'm not talking about this.
No?
No.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on, though Hudson has recently posted about it on Instagram.
You joined InstaFace, as you put it. I love that. There's some great pictures of you and Jordan where you're a fisherman and she's a mermaid. It's charming. It's a different side of you. What's the reaction been like?
It's so
What's it
weird.
been like?
To have these different sort of photos. There's another one where you're doing, I know you're not into meditation or yoga or Pilates. You're balancing Jordan on your feet. And she's doing kind of the Titanic pose.
Yeah, so I'm on some of those social media platforms, but I honestly don't follow them.
The picture of him as a fisherman and her dressed as a mermaid, and then as it was described, him holding her up on his feet while she does a Titanic. I mean, yeah, the softer side of Bill Belichick. Basically, what I think is that Bill Belichick is
kidnapped.
Well, he's a victim of elder abuse, and somebody needs to intervene on his behalf. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. They won't talk about why they met.
Yeah, you know why? Because maybe it was nefarious how they met. Maybe because it was at I don't know. I was thinking, well, where did they meet? A massage parlor one can only imagine how they met. Wouldn't you can even say a dating app or we were introduced through friends or something. But when she stopped the interview, Stone Cold like, we are not discussing that. She's his handler. She's in charge. She wears the pants in that relationship. And poor Bill Belichick. I mean, she even let him go on air with a torn navy sweatshirt that looked like it had been eaten by moss. I don't know. The whole thing was weird, and I think he's being kidnapped and held against his will.
Well, first of all, how they met.
Oh, yes, please.
I mean, they met on a plane. That's how the story goes. They met in 2021 when he sat on a plane next to her, and she was a college student at the time.
Ooh.
And he asked her to sign. She asked him to sign her logic textbook, and he wrote, "Thanks for giving me a course on logic." And I guess I don't know.
He put his phone number down then.
Well, I don't know. I don't know when Belichick got divorced. Maybe there's an overlap issue. I don't know. But I mean, how they met, if that's how they actually met, is not exactly scandalous. So I don't know why. It's weird that she interjected and then of course he went along.
Yeah, I mean, she appears to be the one controlling this relationship.
Well, if she's getting Bill Belichick to dress up like a fisherman and take pictures of her in her mermaid outfit and otherwise do tumbling exercises on the beach, I would say that she's driving the train. That would be my read on it as well.
But do you think maybe it was Photoshop? Because he seemed to not really know about Instagram. I mean, the other one he's got, he's on his back with his legs up and she's doing the Titanic pose. And then there's another one where she's,
They were not Photoshopped.
Okay.
If they were Photoshopped, I'm sure she would have said something.
Yeah.
Or he would have. He's just saying, I don't go on there. I don't look at the comments. I'm not spending my days on Instagram going back and forth with all of Jordan's followers. Obviously, it's idiotic. I mean, the whole thing is sort of bizarre. But, the flip side, I mean, I guess the issue is, I mean, one might say as an outside observer that, Coach Belichick, how many Super Bowl rings is P-whipped and he's being run by a 24-year-old woman? And it's sort of sad to watch a stoic, great football coach be reduced to what was presented in that CBS Sunday Morning interview, but it speaks to how I guess it can happen to anyone.
This is a great text message. 24-year-old girls don't look at a 70-plus-year-old and think, I'm so attracted to my grandfather. I mean, there's 49 years difference between the two.
Love is not, not skin deep. Mm-hmm.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You can also text us because I love the text messages we get. You guys make me laugh. Oh, okay.
Very complicated.
You're coming up on your birthday tomorrow.
Well, that's why I'm interested in this story because I'm nearing 73, and so I want to know what I'm in for. Mac in Indiana, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, when Amy says she wears the pants in the family, you see what's in those pants, Amy?
Hey,
running that show, no doubt. But hey, Dan, listen, don't feel bad about being older. I'm just, a couple years over 60. And I'm actually kind of seeing a woman who's just about to hit 40. It's a good experience, I tell you.
Wait. Where did you two meet?
On a
can't
plane
even
where
say.
you
If
signed your
anybody
college
heard it,
textbook?
we'd be in trouble.
Uh-oh. Well,
What do you two talk? Wait, what do you two talk about with such a big age?
Well, 60-40, I mean, that's not,
Well, I mean-
that's not 73-24. I mean, come on, 60-40
Yeah,
is
I'm not Bill
a big deal.
Belichick robbing the cradle here.
I mean, 60-40 is not a big deal, but these are both adults who've lived lives, clearly. But who's running the show, Mac?
Oh, I think we both are. It works out pretty good.
Okay, she is. Got it. Yeah, sure. You think, when you think you both are, you're not.
No.
I mean, the comments on social media, because I do follow it. It's not like he is mentally incapacitated.
No,
I mean, Belichick's, he's just he just doesn't understand relationship power dynamics. I guess, I don't know. I mean, and not that it needs to get into that, but
well, the question is, Dan, if he didn't have millions of dollars, would she really be interested in him?
No, but that's like any dude. I mean, if that's any dude. I mean, you could say that about like any, almost, well, not any, but all of the public relationships, and there's a lot of private ones too, where the dynamic's similar. It's the same. It's the same. I mean, to some extent, it's like, well, okay, so this person is successful in their craft, and that's an attractive thing, and he's, and provides security and all this. So, I mean, that's a thing. But I mean, this is not unusual. This is just sort of more on the extreme end of the examples, isn't it? It's not unusual, that dynamic. But I mean, but Bill Belichick, it's one thing like privately, and if she makes you defile yourself and basically set aside your dignity to engage in this role playing on the beach for the purposes of her Instagram following. Okay, that's one thing. Like, you're being interviewed, and so this is going to be broadcast,
right?
And you should know how media works by this time. So anything like this that spices it up will certainly be broadcast.
Of her,
and she, we're not talking about. She is interceding, like she needs to chaperone Bill Belichick in an interview that clearly was going to include the personal. I'm sure that's part of the nature of the book, but even if it isn't, even if it's just a strict football book or a biography of some sort, they're going to ask about this relationship because it's gotten so much attention because of the dynamics we're describing, because she's on the field during spring practice for the North Carolina football team, so she's sort of omnipresent, and then you allow that to happen during an interview? Joe in Arlington Heights.
Good morning. The relationship propriety rule that I've heard my whole life is you divide the older person's age in half and add 10 years.
Oh, it's 10.
So,
no, I've heard
5.
half plus 6.
Oh, no, there you go.
I'm sorry, half plus 10 is how it's going to be. And so,
okay.
Grandpa,
Joe's rule.
He's got a grandpa fetish. What can we say?
Well, maybe. Thanks for the call, Joe. I have a feeling, though, that, I mean, I don't know, and I hate to impugn anybody's integrity, but I've impugned Bill Belichick's self-respect, so I guess I can impugn her integrity, or at least suggest. Maybe this is like her reality TV springboard into the celebrity that she seeks.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a possibility, or am I being cynical? And I should just appreciate that these are a couple of silly hearts that finally found each other, lo, these many years apart. I don't know. I mean, she certainly is a very public partner, which is fine, but I mean, one has to wonder about these matters.
Text message, Dan and Amy, old men aren't wise anymore, and I blame Viagra. Okay, well.
Well, the flip side, I mean, not to appeal to prurient interests, but, 73-year-old Bill Belichick, who, is with it and capable and all that, but he's not exactly, a cross between Charles Atlas and, I don't know, Brad Pitt or something, whoever you ladies find attractive.
I don't find him at all attractive.
Well, I understand. That's my point. Is he's got a 24-year-old hot chick, and
have fun with that.
What guy from 24 to 74 isn't perhaps a bit envious of one Bill Belichick? I don't know about that 24-year-old, but Matt's outside.
Hey, good morning, guys. They say love is blind. Well, she sees dollar signs and he has cataracts, so.
Well, and also, too, like, he's wearing a Navy sweatshirt that has a hole in it, and she's wearing a Navy sweatshirt that doesn't have a hole in it, and she's up there, like, she looked like she was miking him up, actually, before the interview started. I mean, she inserted herself all over the place in that interview.
I understand for Halloween, they're going to go as peanut butter and jelly. It's just a wonderful relationship. They complement each other. They complete one another.
I'm fishing. I'm the fisherman, and you're my mermaid.
Reeling you in, baby. Okay.
How many Instagram followers? I even care. I don't even go on the gram. I'm like Bill Belichick. Just, put
in
things
so many
out
ways.
there and don't even see.
Yeah.
Oh, in so many ways, right? Yeah.
Well,
I wouldn't want a 24. Are you kidding me? Ugh. Lord, that's called babysitting at that age.
But whether it's 24-74 or 40-60 or 45-45, 45. I mean, this is like and then if you have kids, I know it gets complicated, but you can't be run like that. No man should be run like that. That's my position.
Okay. So he's lost his man card, is what you're saying.
He donned the pea hat on the sidelines, right over your headphones, right over your headset, Bill Belichick. Yeah, you cannot be run like that. That is no way to live. You're doing time, buddy, to borrow from Kramer. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I'm Claire from Trinity Debt Management. I'm a counselor, and the reason that I love working for Trinity is because I get to help folks with one of the hardest problems a family can face, and that's financial difficulties. In this day and age, everything is going up. You have higher utilities, higher grocery bills, higher fuel, and those credit card interest rates have gone up as well. We can help you with that. We can help you get lower interest rates, lower monthly payments. In just a few minutes, we put together a plan that gets you out of debt and keeps you out of debt. I love my job. It's a great program and a very smart way to find debt relief.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
I'm Claire, a Trinity counselor. Call me and become debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
Maha starts with Virago, making America healthy again. With the worst flu season in years, you need an immune system boost. The stronger your immune system, the stronger your body fights and defends against so get Virago. Virago Immune Enhancement Support is a unique blend of 23 nutraceuticals, ingredients that have been available as individual nutraceuticals, but now working in synergy to maximize their effects. Recommended by medical physicians, dentists, and other healthcare professionals, Virago is the nutraceutical cocktail for immune support. Developed to strengthen your immune system for quick response to immune challenges, for short and long-term immunity, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. It even protects your heart, kidneys, liver, all in a unique liquid supplement for better absorption. Order online at myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com. myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Quality ingredients for optimum health. Maha, making America healthy again starts with Virago.
Enjoy uninterrupted programming from Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson around the clock, all day, every day, including daily replays of Chicago's Morning Answer on Dan and Amy 24/7. Listen now at danandamy247.com. AM 560, The Answer.
All right. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The head of the University of Chicago Crime Lab has a new book that challenges the conventional wisdom about gun violence. We'll start there with our friend John Lott from the Crime Prevention Research Center at 808.
Today it's going to be mostly sunny, some high clouds, and windy. Wind gusts can be 40 miles per hour at times, but we will have warm conditions, a high of 82 degrees tonight, a strong thunderstorm late, possible hail, damaging winds, and then tomorrow, windy and a thunderstorm, cloudy, cooler, a high of 73 degrees. It is now 8 a.m., WIND, Chicago.
This is the 99th day of President Trump's second term. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Today, we kick off 100-day week with a focus on the president's historic effort to secure our southern border.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt at a rare morning briefing touting increased border security and a big drop in illegal immigration.
Later this afternoon, President Trump will sign an executive order on law and order and another executive order on sanctuary cities.
An earlier Trump order cracking down on Democrat-led sanctuary cities not cooperating with an immigration crackdown and deportations was partly blocked by a federal judge. A raid early yesterday netted more than 100 illegal immigrants at an underground nightclub in Colorado Springs. Attorney General Pam Bondi tells Fox in that club,
you would go in, security would give you a menu of drugs. Cocaine, there's something new called pink cocaine, meth, you could go in a bathroom stall, get that, there was prostitution, all these things going on.
Also detained in that raid, at least a dozen active U.S. military members, some were working security. Russia is planning a 3-day pause in the war in Ukraine, May 8th through 10th. To mark the end of World War II. President Trump says he's very disappointed Russia has continued to attack Ukraine's capital city. After his meeting Saturday with Ukraine's President Zelensky, he keeps pushing a peace deal.
I think the meeting went well. We'll see what happens over the next few days. We'll probably learn a lot.
Now, that meeting with Zelensky was after they attended Pope Francis's funeral in Rome Saturday. Now, this morning we found out the conclave of cardinals that will choose the next pope in secrecy will start May 7th. Police in Florida think they've located the boat that crashed into a ferry full of passengers last night, then sped away. One person was killed, 12 others hospitalized.
The firefighters had to go into the water and help some people. There were also good Samaritans who were picking up people and taking them in their boats.
City of Clearwater spokesman Rob Shaw, no word on arrests. In Canada, the man accused of driving an SUV into a crowd of people at a Vancouver Filipino festival Saturday night has been charged with murder. 11 people were killed. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 57 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine needs to happen soon. Rubio told NBC's Meet the Press that the U.S. may decide this week whether it will continue to mediate the peace process.
This week is going to be a really important week in which we have to make a determination about whether this is an endeavor that we want to continue to be involved in. But we want to see it happen. There are reasons to be optimistic, but there are reasons to be realistic, of course, as well. We're close, but we're not close enough. Well, I think they're closer in general than they've been any time in the last 3 years, but it's still not there.
Governor Pritzker is taking shots at do-nothing Democrats for ceding power to Republicans. During a speech last night in New Hampshire, the governor urged the Democratic Party to fight against the Trump administration.
Never before in my life have I called for mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption, but I am now.
His speech fueled speculation he's considering a run for president in 2028. A 16-year-old boy is wounded after he was shot on Chicago's north side. Police say the shooting happened early yesterday in the 5700 block of North Pulaski Road. The teen walked into the hospital with a gunshot wound to the stomach and was listed in critical condition. And a college education does not equal high pay in the working world, especially for students in the arts. A new report from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York found that graduates who major in education, social work, or the arts usually earn the lowest median incomes 5 years after finishing school. News is a service of Air Right Heating and Cooling, offering AM 560 listeners $56 off of any service, including inspections. Don't wait for a heat wave for that old air conditioner to break down. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. I'll check out the roads coming up in 2 minutes, but now time for the Signature Bank Business Beat.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Food delivery company DoorDash could be expanding. London-based competitor Deliveroo says it received a takeover offer from DoorDash worth more than $3.5 billion. DoorDash says it's prepared to recommend the deal to shareholders if a formal offer is made. Airbus will purchase some plants that make parts for its jets from Spirit Aerosystems. The factories are in the U.S., Europe, and Africa. Airbus says sites in North Carolina and Kansas are part of the agreement. Spirit Aerosystems split off from Boeing around 20 years ago. Domino's Pizza topped Wall Street expectations for earnings and revenue. It held up better than expected in the recent quarter because of sales outside the U.S. Domestic sales declined slightly. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda, invested in you.
For nearly a decade, AM 560 has marked the start of summer with a night of cigar smoking and great conversation. And this year, we've expanded Cigar Night to 2 nights. Wednesday, May 21st at Goldberg's Farm in Pingree Grove, and Thursday, May 22nd at Gaelic Park in Oak Forest. Featuring the great Larry Elder, along with AM 560's Dan Proft and Sean Thompson. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Virago Immune Support Supplement.
This Mother's Day, give Mom something that shines as bright as she does. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. Roland's Jewelers is the perfect place for a gift to make Mother's Day unforgettable. Roland's has such a beautiful selection of jewelry, and I'm a long-time customer of Roland's. I love this place, and I want you to make Mom feel truly special with a stunning Simon G necklace, a Roberto coin bracelet to match her style, or sparkling diamond stud earrings. I love that Roland's is family-owned, and I appreciate their expertly trained sales specialist. Roland's will help you find that perfect gift because Mom deserves jewelry she'll cherish forever. Visit Roland's Jewelers, downtown Libertyville, or RolandsJewelers.com. That's ROLLANDS, RolandsJewelers.com. Roland's Jewelers, a family-owned jeweler you can trust this Mother's Day, like I do. RolandsJewelers.com, or call them 847-918-7300, 847-918-7300, Roland's Jewelers.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Croscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Croscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Croscom.
Call Croscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Croscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Croscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Croscom.
Croscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Croscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CroscomPublicAdjusters.com.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
From the Team Hotberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 18 minutes, about 17 minutes outbound. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn interchange, 38 minutes. On the outbound side, about 36 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the old post office, about 43 minutes. Outbound, about 30 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, about 39 minutes. That's partially due to a stalled vehicle. The center lane is blocked between Harlem and Cicero. News is a service of Woodland Windows and Doors in Roselle. Brighten your home and make the rooms in your house look better and bigger with larger windows or patio doors this spring. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your consultation today. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Times of clouds and sun, windy day. High today up to 82. Cloudy, windy, and warm. Strong thunderstorm in the area late tonight, low 68. Clouds turning cooler. A thunderstorm in spots early tomorrow morning, then partly sunny. High at 73. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We're going to get to the recent revelations about those self-styled civil libertarians, thanks to a document declassified by DNI Tulsi Gabbard about Biden's plans to monitor individuals that they believe to be potential threats to the public. John Lott, and we will discuss that with John Lott momentarily. But first, I wanted to raise the specter of this new book by the director of the University of Chicago Crime Lab called Unforgiving Places. His name is Jans Ludwig. He's an economist. And he suggests that some of the conventional wisdom about gun violence is incorrect. One of the things he did was look at two neighborhoods that are divided between the west and south side. 71st and Dorchester on the south side, the boundary between Greater Grand Crossing on the west side of the street and South Shore on the east side of the street. Twice as many shootings in Greater Grand Crossing on the west side of the street as across the street in South Shore. And he argues that conventional wisdom basically gives us no understanding of why, because the neighborhoods are economically similar and demographically similar. Obviously the same gun laws. He says, does Ludwig, we all tend to think of gun violence as being basically gang wars over drug-selling turf, deliberate, premeditated. It's got an objective, has some sort of economic motivation. But that's not what most shootings in America are. Most shootings are actually garden-variety arguments that escalate and spin out of control and end in tragedy because someone's got a gun. And it turns out that there are features of these two neighborhoods that lead arguments to be more likely to happen in Greater Grand Crossing and more likely to escalate and end in tragedy. He makes the point that in South Shore, you have people around. There are a bunch of eyes on the street because it's right along the lake. Historically, there were a lot of commercial buildings interspersed with residential. So there are always people walking around. In Greater Grand Crossing, there's just a lot less commercial development. There's a lot fewer eyes on the street. There's more disorder, more graffiti, more trash lying around, and there's more premature mortality. He says, so it's not that people are fundamentally different. It's not that the economic conditions are different. It's that you're more under stress in Greater Grand Crossing, so you're more likely to go on tilt. And there are fewer adults around to step in and de-escalate when that happens. He suggests that there is data to support that there are maybe some simple ways to make a big difference on gun violence. They don't require a ton of money, and they don't require to have huge political fights or solve every other social problem before we can get to gun violence. The sort of new behavioral economic perspective on gun violence suggests very different sorts of social programs that people have not been talking about. We've seen in study after study, says Ludwig, that they're not very expensive. They don't take tons of time. You can deliver them inside schools, inside detention facilities at very low cost. They have really big impacts in reducing people's risk of going on tilt, as he describes it, and getting involved in violence. And I think the other thing we can do is eyes on the street. That's a very solvable problem. One of the ways you can do that is by making pocket parks, he argues, in areas where there is a significant number of vacant lots. You make public spaces that the public accesses, and you have more eyes on the street. He said in Philadelphia, those so-called pocket parks can reduce the number of shootings around an area by 20 to 30%, just by bringing more people into the public, more eyes on the street. He doesn't go into detail, at least in this interview that I read, about some of these other programs that deal, that can be delivered in schools and detention facilities that help to prevent people from, quote unquote, going on tilt. But this is what he's talking about in terms of it's sort of, it's a maturity, dispute resolution orientation deal more so than than gang warfare, at least in terms of where the biggest impact can be had the most quickly. Interesting. Glad we have John Lott on to address that. John Lott is the president of the Crime Prevention Research Center, former senior advisor for research and stats at the Department of Justice's Office of Legal Policy, and author of books including Gun Control Myths and More Guns, Less Crime. John, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
It's good to talk to you again.
What do you think about that assessment by that University of Chicago dude?
I don't know what to say other than it's probably the typical left-wing stuff. Look, 90% of murderers have a violent criminal record. These are not normal people who just get into an argument and lose their cool and shoot somebody. And beyond that, there's a famous criminologist named James Q. Wilson who had a theory about broken windows, which basically said that, if you have an area where people aren't around, you're going to be more likely to have more crime. One of the reasons to enforce simple laws that you have there, like graffiti and broken windows and things like that, was to make sure that people would feel comfortable being out and around. So it's not that part isn't a new idea, wanting to go and but Jens doesn't seem to want to give James Q. Wilson credit for having that. And there is empirical evidence for that. But this notion, look, murders in the United States are very heavily concentrated in tiny areas. 2% of the counties in the United States make up over 52% of the murders. And if you ever look at what's called a murder map for those counties, you'll find that about 2/3 of those murders occur within 10-block areas. So what's unique about the United States compared to other countries is how incredibly heavily concentrated murders are in the United States in relatively small areas. And they are gang-related. One of the reasons why this 90% of murderers have a violent criminal record is because they're overwhelmingly gang members to begin with. And so, some of the stuff, people just don't understand some of the data. So you'll hear, for example, that half of murderers are acquaintances. Well, when people hear the term acquaintance, they just think people who are friendly with each other. But the problem is that most gang members know
each other.
Of other gangs.
Yeah, I'm acquainted with them, and I want to kill them. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
But police know who they are, too. I mean, they know who's going to be committing the crimes and who's going to be committing the murders.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I mean, the point is, these guys have criminal records they've been through the system multiple times. They've been caught. The police have had to process them before. So it's not just your regular person. I mean, they just want to make it appear that it's just somebody who kind of just loses their cool and goes and starts shooting up other people. And so you should be worried about everybody who's around you, because anybody could be a danger. I mean, this has been the long-term gun control argument that's there. But in fact, that's extremely misleading. I mean, you should be worried about people who have violent criminal records.
Yeah, and not turning them out without in a no cash bail system. But I digress. I wanted to get to the piece that you penned for Real Clear Politics as well, because you're right, and you mentioned this in your piece, that this is an underreported story, and it's particularly salient right now as you have all these leftists running around pretending to be civil libertarians, aghast at, for example, that Judge Dugan in Wisconsin being charged with obstruction of justice because, if the facts are as presented, because she obstructed justice. But they were all party to a plan under the Biden administration that would make an honest civil libertarian Blanche, weren't they?
Yeah, look, there have been an initial report that had been made public by the Biden administration in June 2021 dealing with domestic terrorists, where they were talking about going after people who had engaged in criminal actions. What Tulsi Gabbard just declassified was kind of the complete report, and it had discussions about how they just weren't going to be going after people who were engaged in criminal actions. They were going to go after people who were explicitly saying in non-criminal actions, what they called concerning non-criminal actions. And when you read this, it's just startling. So, people remember when whistleblowers from the FBI would come out and say that they were going after Catholics, infiltrating Catholic groups, or going and taking the license plate numbers down for people who had been to school board meetings. And when that leak came out, the Biden administration said, oh, well, we're just concentrating on people who are engaged in criminal actions. Well, when you actually read what Tulsi Gabbard declassified, it's clear that, in fact, that wasn't the case. They were going after people simply because of their political views. So when they go and say things like there was a FBI leak that had this guide for FBI agents to help identify terrorists based on whether they use symbols like 2A or use the Betsy Ross flag, the one with the circle with the stars, or have put on their social media posts the right to keep and bear arms. Those were symbols and sayings that the FBI was supposed to use to identify people who, as an initial thing for criminal actions. Well, it turns out that it was much broader than that. They were using these to identify people simply on the basis of their political views that they had there. And, it's just kind of startling to me. I don't think I've ever seen a government kind of use these resources to identify and tag people based simply on whether their political views align with the administration or not.
Well, I mean, I can't say that I'm terribly surprised because of the other examples you gave. I mean, this just makes it more of a comprehensive approach, so it can't be just dismissed as a one-off, a rogue agent in the Richmond, Virginia office. Yeah, right. The philosophy of the left is that you should be prosecuted for your thoughts and exonerated for your behavior, so long as, at least on the behavior side, so long as you're a fellow traveler. I mean, that's what we see playing out right now with these judges, don't we?
Well, I mean, what's particularly startling is that they didn't just identify people with this. One of the things that came out was what they call debanking, basically putting pressure on financial institutions not to go and do business with certain people that the administration would identify as being, quote, concerning non-criminal behavior. And we had lawyers, for example, that worked with Trump after the 2020 election. I mean, you can disagree with whether there was vote fraud in the 2020 election, but for a lawyer to be hired by Trump to advise him on what he can do and what he can't do, that's not criminal action by the lawyer. Lawyers get hired by people all the time, and they're supposed to provide their best advice. But yeah, you had people like John Eastman, who was a lawyer for Trump, who had his bank accounts at Bank of America and USAA closed. He had no recourse there. I mean, try running your life without being able to go and have checks, without being able to go and have a credit card, without being able to go and have a bank account. I mean, you can go to payday people and go and cash checks that you get and just live your life with cash. But that makes things a lot more difficult for people to go and have to operate like that. And, when you read this thing, they said, basically people that we were identifying as having this concerning non-criminal behavior, they wanted to make essentially it difficult for those individuals to operate. That's explicitly in the document that was declassified by Tulsi Gabbard that's there. It explains why a number of people who were Catholics who had their bank accounts closed and others, which is otherwise inexplicable, because they were engaged in no criminal activity, why they were facing this debanking during the Biden administration.
Right, and then it certainly prompts the question, is this like how the censorship industrial complex worked? We're not going to pass any legislation or attempt to pass any legislation, partly because it would have been unconstitutional. So what we're going to do is just come up with this approach, and then we're going to whisper to our friends at the big banks like we did at big tech to get them to do for us what we can't do for ourselves.
Right. I mean, Obama had Operation Choke Point, where he would go and put pressure on financial institutions not to go and do business with oil companies or with firearm makers or whatever. Trump ended that. Biden reinstituted it. But then he expanded it beyond just going after companies that he didn't like. He's ended up going after individuals that had the wrong types of political views in order to make their lives more difficult and make it harder for them to go and speak out or operate in the world there. And so, it's, and with regard to the tech censorship, one of the things that was clear in the declassified thing that Tulsi Gabbard released was that the Biden administration wanted to take the world lead in terms of this type of censorship. I mean, they say a couple times in there that they want to protect people's freedom of expression. But then there's like a dozen times when they talk about going after disinformation and making sure that disinformation isn't allowed to spread. They talk about things like using the public education system in order to create a resiliency for young people to withstand disinformation that's out there. One can only try to wonder to what extent they were willing to go and put out their own disinformation on things. But there's this thing called the Christchurch, I can't remember the full name, but after the mosque shooting in
New Zealand,
in New Zealand. And one of the things that if you read the documents there, they're talking about going after what they call hate speech. And the Biden administration wanted to make that kind of the lead thing that they were saying. I mean, who's going to define what hate speech is? I may disagree with somebody. I mean, as long as they're not threatening violence, which would be a criminal thing, but given that they're talking about non-criminal activity here, if I say I dislike somebody or I think somebody's wrong, according to the Biden administration, those types of things could theoretically be hate speech there. And do we want the government to go and put pressure on tech companies to try to make sure that they don't publish or allow people to disseminate things that others disagree with politically?
John Lott, president of the Crime Prevention Research Center, former senior advisor for research and stats at the Department of Justice's Office of Legal Policy, and author of books including Gun Control Myths and More Guns, Less Crime. John, thank you as always.
Thank you for being there.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer. Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160, Hope for Your Life.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
You've heard us talk about our campaign this spring with Caring Network. They're a local pro-life organization in Chicagoland, and they're working to prevent abortions in Illinois by reaching abortion-minded women with a message of life and hope. But they need your help to do that. Illinois has become a destination for so-called abortion tourism. As our neighboring states have restricted abortion, more women are coming to Illinois. In fact, the number of abortions in Illinois has more than doubled in less than 7 years. Caring Network is committed to reaching the abortion-minded woman, the woman who gets pregnant unexpectedly and is likely to go to a Planned Parenthood or another abortion provider to end her pregnancy. Caring Network needs your help to reach her first. You can help this effort by making a one-time donation of $150. That amount will make it possible for Caring Network to reach 5 women who are considering abortion. Reach her first means providing services like telehealth counseling with a nurse, or scheduling an in-person appointment to show a pregnant woman her baby on an ultrasound. To learn more and to make a donation to Caring Network, just go to 560theanswer.com/caring. That's 560theanswer.com/caring.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, maybe we'll do a little sports and politics, given all the controversy around Shadir Sanders. We'll do that at 8:38.
All right, but first we have to stop by that newsroom once again and say good morning to Nikki Weigel.
Good morning. It's 57 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. Nearly 2/3 of Americans disapprove of President Trump's tariffs.
A new ABC News Washington Post Ipsos poll released on Friday reveals 7 in 10 Americans think the tariffs will increase U.S. inflation. Nearly half of Republicans polled think the tariffs will have a negative impact on inflation. That number rises to 75% among independents. 59% think President Trump's tariffs will have a positive impact on creating manufacturing jobs in the U.S. That includes 90% of Republicans and 60% of independents. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
Governor Pritzker is taking shots at his own party during a speech last night in New Hampshire. Pritzker blasted what he called the do-nothing Democrats for ceding power to Republicans. The governor urged the Democratic Party to fight against the Trump administration, calling for mass protests. His speech fueled speculation that he's considering a run for president in 2028. News is a service of Goldilocks, offering Chicagoland state-of-the-art smart security systems to protect your home or business. AM 560 listeners receive 3 months of monitoring free with new installs. Get peace of mind by calling Goldilocks at 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Hey Chicago, it's me, Larry Elder, the sage from South Central, the great Al Dursky, Don Lorenzo, and I want you to join me along with Dan Proft and Sean Thompson for AM 560's upcoming cigar nights on May 21st and 22nd. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you and sitting down to talk about everything that's been happening during the first 100 days of the Trump administration. Get your tickets today at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. And I'll see you on May 21st and 22nd.
You never want to miss one of life's most important moments. A graduation, a birthday, a first communion, a wedding. When these moments happen, you want to make sure to capture them so that you and your loved ones can remember them for years to come. For over 30 years, families have relied on Tom Kaloran Photography to capture important life moments. This locally owned family business can provide the solutions you need for your important event photography, from weddings and birthdays to class reunions and golf outings. No matter the size or scope, Tom Kaloran Photography will make sure you have lasting memories to share for years to come. Tom Kaloran Photography is also the official photographer for AM 560 The Answer. To learn more and to see their portfolio, just visit KaloranPhotography.com. That's KILLORAN photography.com. Or call them at 708-361-0025. Tom Kaloran Photography, capturing important life moments for over 30 years.
Not everyone who handles your personal information is as careful as you are, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the United States. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock will monitor hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. And if your identity's stolen, a U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save 40% your first year with my name, Clay, as your promo code at LifeLock.com. LifeLock, for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 20% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Welcome back to Ask Hassleus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
What makes Hassleus Mattress different?
Aside from employee-free showrooms, free next-day delivery and haul-away, and way too low prices on Beautyrest, Sealy Posturepedic, and CertaPerfect Sleeper?
Yeah, besides that.
Well, Hassleus is locally owned.
You mean your franchise is locally owned?
We're not a franchise. Every showroom is owned and managed by the same family. So, when you shop at Hassleus, your money stays right here. And through Monday, our family wants to give you a $248 credit towards a new Beautyrest, Sealy Posturepedic, and CertaPerfect Sleeper just for shopping local.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Our 43 beds from the top 5 brands start at $393.
I like that.
Try and buy with no pushy sales guy.
I love that.
Free next day delivery too.
Thanks.
For what?
For being different.
Shop local and enjoy a $248 credit through Monday at Hassleus Mattress. Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free Chicagoland showroom near you at hassleus.com.
From the Team Hotberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 16 minutes. Outbound, about 16 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn interchange, 42 minutes. Outbound, about 29 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the old post office, 50 minutes. Outbound, it's about 43 minutes. That's due to an accident that has 2 left lanes blocked between Wolf and Tri-State Tollway. This report is sponsored by Robert Half. At Robert Half, they found 67% of companies want to increase contract talent. That's why their recruiters' expertise and award-winning AI work quickly to find skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Times of clouds and sun, a windy day. High today 82. Clouds windy and warm. Strong thunderstorm late tonight. Could bring some hail and damaging wind, low 68. Windy and cooler tomorrow. A thunderstorm in the early morning and partly sunny. High 73. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Sports and politics and sports and politics and sports and politics and intersection. Arrogance and ignorance. Arrogance, ignorance, and arrogance and ignorance. Intersection.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, in this installment of Sports and Politics, the life and times over the course of the NFL draft of one Shadir Sanders, son of Deion Sanders, outgoing quarterback at Colorado, who some had projected in the first round, but he dropped all the way to the fifth round. And Jamal Bowman, the fire alarm aficionado.
Oh, yeah. Got bumped out of office, right?
Yeah, he got
bounced.
He got bounced in a primary, Jamal Bowman, but he was an honorary member of the Socialist Spice Girls. He is a unrepentant race hustler. He's got the drop on this. My favorite hot take all weekend of the Shadir Sanders saga, Jamal Bowman.
Okay, you got the football evaluation. Then you got his dad and what Deion brings to the table as an active father, as an active black father in his black son's life. And we all know what that is, whether we want to admit it or not. But it's not only that. It's the way Shador dresses. It's the way he talks, and it's his culture, in my opinion. You see him at the draft last night. He's wearing all black. He got the ill chain on, and he talks like a rapper. And I keep hearing, oh, he's entitled. He feels entitled. I don't know. It's like entitled. So like these white boys that came before him don't feel entitled. Eli Manning, Archie Manning, when they said he don't want to play for San Diego, don't draft me. That's not entitlement, but that was acceptable. That was okay for him to do that. I just take it personal, and maybe I shouldn't, but I take it personal when I see someone like Shadir Sanders, because he talk a certain way and because he wears gold chains and his pops is Deion and he don't want to submit to y'all white, he's gonna slip in the draft. And you're telling me it's based on the evaluation. Like, you didn't watch the games and watch him play and see him play. Like, it's crazy. Peace.
And peace be with you. NFL is racist. They don't countenance black men who dress and behave like rappers. Really?
Oh, since when? You just wake up?
That's awesome. Yeah.
White men, white football players wear. Did you see Taylor Swift's boyfriend? He wears chains. Come on. He's such a tryhard, but he's always been a wannabe Spice Girl.
It is worth noting that the number one overall pick was a black quarterback named Cam Ward from Miami, but that half the league is black. But somehow Shadir Sanders is being treated poorly because he's more flamboyant than some of the other football players. Yeah, I don't think so. In point of fact, from some of these sports journalists, in quotation marks, like Tom Pelissero, said NFL coach told him that Shadir Sanders was the worst formal interview he ever had.
Oh, really?
He was dictating to teams how he wanted things to go. Throughout the pre-draft process, very much proceeded as if he was dictating to clubs where he was going to go rather than how the draft works, which is the other way around. An assistant coach told me in all his years it was the worst formal interview he'd ever been through. People said that Shadir was trying to dictate how he wanted things to go and made them feel small. So, I mean, your approach, your attitude matters in terms of what type of locker room presence you're going to be. A lot of teams have had to learn the hard way with athletes a lot more talented and evaluated a lot more highly than Shadir Sanders, who's also small.
Yeah, he's short, and I don't like short quarterbacks because you can't see you can't see over the offensive line. I've always hated that. That's my take on sports. I know it makes you guys feel uncomfortable when I talk sports, but I just don't like it.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't like that we picked another tight end because what about my guy for the Bears?
Your guy was who?
Hersey High School. Who's our tight end for the Bears?
The kids out of Michigan.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean,
so who? I mean, you don't know the name of your your favorite player. You wanted your guy for the Bears. Who's your guy?
Oh, am I having a mind? Oh, this is so hard. Sleep deprivation is such a terrible. Cole Kmet. Excuse me. St. Viator. He went.
He's already there.
I know, but then we picked up another tight end. It just makes me nervous.
Yeah. Well,
That's
I
what
understand. Yeah, and the Babylon Bee had breaking news that that tight end from Michigan is choosing to retire rather than play for the Bears. It could happen.
Real quick, though, did you hear what Clay Matthews did when he opened up the NFL camp in Green Bay? This is great.
Quick, Roger, but I just got off the phone with the president, Donald Trump. He asked me to pass a message along to all 32 NFL franchises. So let me tell you what it reads here, all right?
He opens up a letter.
It says, my fellow Americans, the Bears still suck!
Boy.
Yeah, I know.
Packers. Not that they're wrong necessarily.
No, but I
it's
mean,
it's just.
But I was like, oh, Trump chimed in on this. Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I got drawn in. I was suckered into it. Yes.
I mean, I think the Bears had had an okay draft. I don't know about the tight end selection either. Colston Loveland from Michigan, but we'll see. By the way, Shadir Sanders' flamboyance, and then after he got drafted in the 5th round by Cleveland, they drafted Dylan Gabriel, the Oregon quarterback, before Shadir Sanders. So they have
He's
4
not
quarterbacks
guaranteed-
over there in Cleveland. He'll probably make the team, but he's going to be a backup, and I don't know. But anyway,
Maybe the practice squad. I mean, I don't know.
I think they probably get rid of Pickett, keep Flacco as the 3rd string, and Shadir. I don't know. I mean, we'll see how they play. That's why you have training camp, I suppose. But anyway, and then after he was drafted in the 5th round, there's pictures of him with at his party celebrating and being drafted and stuff, and it's like everybody's showing off Louis Vuitton bags full of cash, basically like an ostentatious rap party. I don't know. I mean, you do what you want. By the way, I just don't necessarily know that redounds well to you. It feels a little Johnny Manziel redux, so it's not about race, it's about behavior. Anyway, it is interesting to note that Shiloh Sanders, who went undrafted, is a safety, played in Colorado too, Shadir's brother, obviously Deion's son, fired Deion Sanders as his agent. Fired his dad as his agent after he went undrafted. Wow. That's an interesting family.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and by the way, Jamal Bowman talking about Neon Deion as, a father involved in his son's life. I mean, that's all well and good, but I think some NFL teams were worried about just how involved Deion was going to be in Shadir's life. They didn't need a shadow coach in the background. Maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. But it didn't mean that Shadir should have suffered this prank call that he got on draft day. This was before he was drafted. This was bad. And it turns out this was done by the son of the GM of the Atlanta Falcons. This is how that call went.
Hey, is this Shadir? This is Mickey Loomis here, the GM of the New Orleans Saints. How you doing? This is Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good, how are you, man? Yeah, we have. It's been a long wait, man. We're gonna take you with our next pick right here, man. Hey, but you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer, man. Sorry about that.
What does that mean? What? What did he say? I don't know. How you gonna ask us what it mean and you was on the phone? You heard that?
He said you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. Sorry about that.
Why did he call?
What the f?
Hey, that's I don't know what that was. It's 50-50. But nobody got this number though.
It was private.
Huh? Did they just troll, bro?
Okay.
Yeah, somebody figured out that he got trolled, but that was pretty mean-spirited given he hadn't been drafted yet, and I think that was like around the second round.
Yeah.
Anyway, he got outed, the Atlanta GM's son, and has since profusely apologized.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't funny, and then it went viral on social media. So it looked like a bunch of D-bags doing that. That was so rude.
Like I
don't care if you like them or not, but that is just not something that is funny at all.
Got it. I thought that I like Shadir Sanders. I thought that Colorado team was fun. I like Deion. I like Deion when he was at Jackson State, and some of the locker room speeches he gave that went viral, and then took the team over to Colorado. And I like Travis Hunter. He's picked second overall. Shadir's teammate. So Jamal Bowman. I don't know how you reconcile that. Anyway. So nothing against the guy. I mean, the rap thing is a little bit much, I think. It comes across as a little bit contrived. But he's an exciting player. I mean, I hope he does well. But you want to understand why he fell in the draft, even in a draft that was sort of thin at quarterback. The swirl around him, I don't think, did him any good. Michael, South Side.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. Thank you both for taking my call. The online commentary about this whole Sanders situation has been a bit scary because there are a lot of folks out there claiming race, and the truth of the matter is he's not all that great, and I think that his father pimped him by taking him to Jackson State instead of sending him to a school with a better competition.
I don't know. Thanks for the call, Michael. I mean, he's gotten to this place. I mean, he was. The interesting thing is, and this just speaks to the nature of college sports now, which is why coaches like Nick Saban retired, Tony Bennett, basketball, Jay Wright, same thing. I think Shadir Sanders was making more in NIL money at Colorado than he's going to make with his rookie contract in Cleveland. Now, the good news for him is if he proves up on the field.
Prove the haters wrong.
Well, if he proves up on the field, he can play in Cleveland. I mean, if he had gotten drafted, not that Atlanta would have drafted him, it would make no sense. They have Penix and Kirk Cousins. But, he wasn't going to see the field for some time. So, anyway, I mean, he's got drafted. He seemed to be happy about it, at least at his Louis Vuitton party. And
so weird.
We'll see what he does. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank that cares about your business and is invested in your success. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Chris Johnson, CEO of Classic Cinemas and proud customer of Signature Bank. We are a local family-owned business that is known for free refills on all sizes of popcorn, soft drinks, and ices. With over 9,000 heated recliners in 16 locations, we marry the traditions of the past with today's state-of-the-art technology. Throw in a 30-minute guarantee and an after movie mint, and you have the perfect night out. As we strive to make every guest our priority, Signature Bank does the same with their customers. The team at Signature Bank is interested in taking my company forward. They have all the resources and solutions of the big banks, but they customize their offerings to meet my business needs. The customer always comes first with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Spring,
A time to get outside, be active, play with the grandkids, enjoy life. But if high blood pressure is holding you back, the sooner you get control of it, the sooner you'll stop being a walking time bomb. High blood pressure is a serious issue. Your blood vessels are constricted, your mortality risk is high. So what can you do besides take medications with side effects? Well, there's a delicious juice that can help bring your numbers back down. It's called 120 Life, and it has natural ingredients that have shown to lower blood pressure. Yes, a superfood juice is showing amazing results for high blood pressure without the side effects of big pharma medication. Try 120 Life risk-free now with a 2-week trial pack. Go to 120life.com and use coupon code 560 to save 15% and get free shipping. They're so sure it can lower your blood pressure in 2 weeks, they'll give your money back if you're not satisfied. Order now. That's 120life.com. Use coupon code 560 at checkout for 15% off.
Did you know that AM 560 Radio has a full-service digital marketing division called Salem Surround? If you're a business decision maker, listen up. AM 560 listeners are everywhere your potential audience is. So are our incredible targeting capabilities. We localize digital marketing and put it within reach of every business, small and large, in Chicagoland and beyond. Salem Surround offers AI-powered marketing solutions that reach your ideal audience. Whether or not you tap into the proven live, local, and emotional connection that AM 560 Radio brings, Salem Surround offers a total marketing solution to our partners. All-in-one digital solutions that provide targeted local digital and social media ads, Google AdWords management, website services, video strategy, search optimization, and even a management dashboard to offer you total campaign updates and transparency. Your Salem Surround representative is located right here in Chicago. Experience the Salem Surround digital revolution today. Call 847-472-8951. That's 847-472-8951.
I've had a number of surgeries, and frankly, I don't have time to rehab a surgery and an operation at this point in my life. I didn't want to take time off my kids' activities.
That's why former college and pro football player Bobby Carpenter turned to QC Kinetics. We couldn't be happier saving our patients like him from operating rooms and long recoveries.
I've been able to resume like normal activity for me, which is a lot of running. It's a lot of workouts. I've been very, very blessed with how it's been able to hold up.
For so long, patients have accepted surgery as the only solution. But with new technologies, the medical professionals at QC Kinetics use regenerative treatments, your body's own biologics, to help heal and restore knees, hips, shoulders, and backs.
I actually ran into a friend of mine over at our golf course, and he had his knee done. It felt so well. He'd got his shoulder done. He goes, I can't thank you enough. He'd heard the commercial on the air, and so it's feeling great.
Find out how you can avoid surgery and finally get relief. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Mike Lindell and his employees want to personally thank you for your continued support of MyPillow. They have a big allotment of their bed sheets that were earmarked for the box stores this spring. Well, they did it again. The box stores didn't come through, so they're going to pass the savings on to you. Now there is no middleman, so you're going to get wholesale prices on their famous Giza Dreams and Percale bed sheets. Giza Dream Queen Size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99. King Size, only $79.99. Percale Queen Size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98. King size only $34.98. So go to mypillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201. Free shipping options available. This allotment won't last long. When they're gone, they're gone. So remember, go to mypillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 to get these amazing wholesale offers.
The
fight against abortion in Illinois has never been more important than it is right now. Thanks to our elected officials, Illinois has become an abortion tourism destination. The number of abortions in our state continues to grow, despite the fact that crisis pregnancy centers outnumber abortion clinics almost 3 to 1. Now, thanks to a new effort by Caring Network, it's possible to reach abortion-minded women to provide peace of mind and security to help them choose life. This new Reach Her First initiative seeks to provide women with the assurance and information they need before they choose an abortion. But Caring Network needs your help to reach women who are considering abortion. For a one-time gift of just $150, you can help reach 5 women and help them choose life. That's all it takes to prevent an abortion. To make that gift, just go to 560theanswer.com/caring. That's 560theanswer.com/caring.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, Dan, what are you doing for your birthday?
Yeah, nobody cares about that. It's starting with me, but we do care about this.
Yeah.
We got somebody that's blown up on Jeopardy, local. Liam Starnes of Barrington, who's a University of Chicago biostats major, smart kid, clearly, on a 6-show winning streak, 123 grand in prize money so far. So I got to catch up and see this kid in action here. Liam Starnes of Barrington. So, I mean, obviously this is done. He already knows the outcomes. He can't say it, but hopefully he keeps winning. We'll see him in the Tournament of Champions. He replaces Ken Jennings someday. He runs for governor of Illinois. I don't know. But, yeah, Liam Starnes, congratulations, and keep it up.
Yes, thank you. Congrats to him. Plenty of warm weather today, a high of 82 degrees, but we can't rule out some strong winds and a possible thunderstorm. It is now 9 a.m. WIND Chicago.
It's the issue that President Trump has the best poll numbers on. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
We are the